Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and play one quick song just to kind of give me a little bit of time to share this out, get everything sent out to the powers that be, mainly X and my Discord. And so let me go ahead and do that, and I will be back with y'all momentarily. All right, guys, what is going on? Okay, so today is our, I don't even want to say annual, but like our third spoiler cast ever. Uh, Super excited about this one. It is for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We have a panel tonight of a bunch of amazing and wonderful people. We have Cosmic Hero 270. We have Josh Ayers. We have myself. We have Creative underscore Kofi. Then we also, who will be joining us in about 15-20 minutes, we have David Faulkner coming on as well. Now, the only requirements for being on here is that you beat the game and have done more than just a handful of the side quests. I think a few people on here have platinumed it. I know one of the guys on here has beat it like 3 times. And so, yeah, we are going to be discussing so many different aspects of this wonderful, amazing game. This is also a stream that doesn't usually do too well, just because of the nature of the content. This is going to be a spoiler cast. It is going to have spoilers for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's impossible to talk about one without the other. We're going to do our best, going to try, but it's near impossible. So, this is your chance now to not have the ending of Remake spoiled and to have nothing of Rebirth spoiled. I highly recommend you get the game. You can go watch my review on it. It is a very good candidate for Game of the Year, and you can go watch that review. Check it out. If you want to play it, that's awesome. Leave a like and then exit thy premises, because I don't want you to get this ruined. If you're somebody who doesn't care, then more power to you. Stay, welcome, engage with us in the chat. Tell us how you got Barrett and how the date was. Like, let us know these things. Talk with us. Communicate with us. It's going to be great. With that being said, my voice is still going from the other night. It's trying to leave. I got my hot tea in front of me. And thankfully, I have people who are very passionate about this franchise and about this series on here. And so they're going to be able to do a ton of the heavy lifting tonight. Once again, hit that like button. Sleeve Monkeys, y'all make shows like this possible. Y'all keep me motivated for the channel. Truly appreciate everything. Thank y'all so much. Hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, become a member, all of that fun stuff. And with that, let's go ahead and bring in the panel. The panel. I like the sound of that. Whoops. Well, I did like the sound of that until I think I just... Oh, no. There we go. Sorry. We are not professionals. Well, I'm not. A couple of these guys kind of are. How do I... No, sorry. We're not going to do that. Okay, what's up, guys? Sorry, I just... Hey, guys. So, I've already kind of done introductions. I've already given the spoiler warning. This is a spoiler cast. I have it in the description. I have it as the first thing you see on the video. I didn't even do the easy route of getting clicks and just do like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, because that would have been easier. But no, I had to put spoiler cast, so nobody's gonna find it. And then it's gonna be fun. I do these mainly for me. The fact that it's on the channel is just a bonus. Because I've been, I know y'all have also, which is why it's kind of cool, but we've all kind of been fans of this franchise for a long time. Some of us started a little later. Some of us started super early. Some of us, like me, started right in the middle. And I literally started with 7. And so, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was where I started.
Yeah. Guys, if that voice you just heard, that is Cosmic Hero. On here, I gotta figure out one day, not today because this is about Final Fantasy VII, but I have to figure out why your name in some places is Cosmic and in other places is Comsick. Anyways, this is Cosmic Hero.
That might be a typo. I might have to fix that. That might be a bit of a typo on my end.
Your Discord always says Comsick.
Yeah, my comms are sick.
Your comms are sick. I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not.
I gotta fix it.
So that's actually what we're going to go ahead and start with. I'm just going to go down from top to bottom. And Cosmic, you said your first one was Final Fantasy VII. Were you hooked on it, or was there another after that like you said, you know, I kind of liked 7, but this game right here is what made me a fan of Final Fantasy?
So, okay. So I was explaining to Josh and Kofi earlier. I'm a little bit more younger side. My first experience with JRPGs was Pokemon, because I was like about 5 years old around the time. And then we got a PS2 in the house, and that PS2 so happened to have backwards compatibility with PS1 titles. So my cousin had a whole bunch of PS1 games that, you know, he wasn't playing anymore, and he moved on to PS2 and so on and so forth. And I saw this, it said Final Fantasy. I'm like, oh, I've never played Final Fantasy. This looks really cool. The guy's got a giant sword. He's got big, spiky blonde hair, you know, because I was a huge fan of Dragon Ball at the time. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I popped the disc in, and I was hooked. Hooked from the very intro sequence the big, entrance with the helicopters, and then it pans down to the train and everything. I was hooked from day one thrifting.
Nice, nice. I was too. But there was a game that solidified it more than this. But I'll get to there once I get through with Josh
Okay.
and Kofi. So Josh, same question to you, man. Was it 7? Was it 4? Was it 6?
My first Final Fantasy is 6. I played that on Super Nintendo at parents' friends, and I was what would have been 7 or 8 at the time. So it went a bit over my head, some of the stuff in it, but I was like, this is really cool, and like the turn-based stuff was really nice. Then after that, Pokemon became a huge thing, so I got into Pokemon. Obviously, did like red, gold, silver, all that sort of stuff. Then got Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation, like on PS1, and then I've like 6 is my first in the thing, but like 7's where it's like, yeah, this is like the coolest thing in the world, and like I play like so much Final Fantasy now, it's like ridiculous. So
It's like an addiction.
That's when the
pretty much.
ticker
I don't
gets
think
to
there's
99999999.
yeah,
99.
I don't think there's a Final Fantasy game like in memory that I haven't played at this point. Like I've played them all, I think.
Yeah.
In,
Now, one thing
whether
you
I
said
finished
before,
them is
you
different,
played.
but I have played them all.
You've played like all like the Chocobo ones too, like the Chocobo
Yes, I've
Racing,
played all
Mog's
the Treasure
Palace.
ones,
Dungeon?
and
Oh,
Yeah.
Chocobo Dungeon's fun.
Wow.
me and my daughter play the dungeon one, like the new one, Everybody, I think it's called, and she loves that as well. So
That's awesome.
I'm spreading it to the next
Yeah.
generation.
That's right. Somebody has to help. Never mind. We're not doing that tonight. That is a different show.
Also, since we're talking about like just obscure like Final Fantasy games, we like World of Final Fantasy is so cool, and no one plays that game.
is it really
and I
good?
don't know
I
why.
see it all
Is-
the time.
Is that the one with the chibi Final Fantasy?
Yes.
characters?
Yes,
Yeah.
that game is so
Oh, okay.
good.
Isn't it like its own
Like people are like,
self-contained
why doesn't
story
Final
too?
Fantasy go turn-based?
I think
and it's
it
that game.
is.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
I heard that too.
Pardon? I missed the question. What?
Is World of Final Fantasy its own story? Does it have its own unique?
Yes, it's
story.
its own story. It's about a brother and a sister, and they go to all the different worlds, which are the games.
Oh, I need to
it's
play
like,
it now.
It's like,
Play out like a small section of the game, like of the original one.
It's like on sale all the time for like $10.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
time Sony has like a summer sale or winter sale, that game always seems to come on sale.
Buy it.
It's like $5.99, and I've always looked at it and gone, I don't want to
Yes.
play some Funko Pops as on a video game.
Oh no! Like
I mean, I'd rather play
everyone-
that than that Funko Pop game. Let's be honest here.
I was listening to a review on that Funko Pop game. Apparently, it's a really bad performance, but it is worth playing. So I'll
Okay.
get to it eventually.
Is it a
Alright.
so bad it's good type of deal? Anyways, okay,
No,
so
yeah, we're not here to talk about Funko
no,
Pop.
let's
We
go
can
ahead
do
and
that
keep
another time.
going. So Kofi, what about you, man?
I originally hated Final Fantasy VII, which is so interesting.
No
how
no kidding.
now that
Oh.
genre,
Okay.
when I first played it, I did not understand turn-based games. It was really my first foray into, looking at a whole menu, choosing different things, and I said, I just don't like this.
So you didn't
And
play Chrono Trigger, Homebound,
Chrono
or
Trigger
Earthbound, or
came
whatever it was?
Chrono Trigger came later. I had a Super Nintendo, but
Oh.
all those games I ended up playing later, and I really fell in love with Chrono Trigger on PlayStation 1, actually, with the anthology that came out
Oh.
in 64. That was 2
Yeah.
players, by the way,
Yeah.
and me and my
Yep.
friend also played that. What was I going to say, though? Oh, yeah, so my best friend at the time was like, you are you are low IQ if you don't like Final Fantasy VII. I said, okay, show me why. And he basically, he just sat me down. He's like, look, just give it a chance. Then I started to get immersed with the story between Cloud and Barrett. And then I was like, oh, you can micromanage things. And I realized I love micromanaging games. And then after that, I was like, this is amazing. And you know what's so interesting? Even though 7 kind of turned me into a turn-based fan, it is not my favorite Final Fantasy. That ended up being Final Fantasy VIII. And
yeah.
even though I will say Vincent Valentine is my overall favorite video game character, even outside of Final Fantasy, 8 still takes it all. And I think it's mostly because 8 I was able to buy the Game Informer magazines for it, read it, get excited, and felt like the game delivered. It was really the first thing I ever was like, this is going to be the best game ever, and it really met my expectations. And we all get excited about game trailers or game pictures, but sometimes the game is just like not it, or it's like okay, it was all right. So to have that like match a 10 for 10 expectation, it's why I ended up having 8 as my number 1, but 7 is still so influential, and there are so many great moments, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a bit. Rebirth, I think, really hits a lot of those moments so far pretty well.
So speaking of Rebirth, and so here's what we got to be careful of. At the very beginning of the video, before I brought y'all in, I did mention that this would be a spoiler cast that would probably hit on Remake and on Rebirth, just because some of the things we're going to talk about have to do with like the direct ending of Remake, and so I gave some of that, but let's maintain. Go ahead.
Can we talk original and Crisis Core, or Dirge, or what? Like,
are we bringing
everything in? Compilation?
That's the thing. I would like to keep it just to. I would like to keep it as close to Remake and Rebirth and the original as possible.
Well,
I understand.
We would be here for hours.
I understand that we can bring in Crisis Core for sure.
Okay,
like
that's the thing I want to talk about.
I get that because of there's the play and there's this other stuff. Like I fully understand that. And by the way, the play is the first clip that we're starting out with. Shout out to Kofi. Thank you for that. It is absolutely kiss my ass that you got Tifa. I hate you. But no,
did you start it?
I got Aerith.
Did you start? I don't see it on the screen.
It's not started yet because I'm still doing the spoiler part.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I don't want to spoil, like, I don't want to have this trail off into, this was a cool mechanic they used in Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy III when you're fighting this, you know what I mean? Like, I'd like to keep it contained so we're not spoiling other games. I accidentally spoiled Horizon. Oh no, I'm sorry. I accidentally spoiled Spider-Man 1 during the Spider-Man 2 spoiler cast. So
shame on you.
And someone was like, thank God I'd already played it, but y'all should have really warned us that it was. So there's the warning. That's to the panel as well. And so yeah, so here we go. I look forward to it, Thrifty. Yeah, Zero Steel, it'd be great if I actually am very rigid and like leading up to this, I run this way more professionally than I run the playground. Because like I'm getting everybody in line. I'm telling them, like, I told these guys, hey, 7:15, we're starting at 8:30 sharp whether you're there or not. Like it's that type of thing, because like I said at the beginning, this is absolutely my favorite thing that I do on the channel. I love talking about video games. Talking about news brings people in, then we get to talk about video games as well. And this is one of the times that we get to do that. So we're gonna Nelson, what's up, dude? Okay, so let me answer mine because I'm kind of controversial. I started with 7, fell in love with 7. 7 ripped my heart out about halfway through the final thing. I had all the weapons, had the chocobo, had everything, and then they killed her, and she was one of my mains, and it was 1997, so I would have been like 11 years old. And I remember bawling on the floor in my bedroom with my PlayStation in front of me and me sitting super close to a 19-inch television. And I bawled like a baby. So I was like, man, this is stupid. So I put it down and then went back to it and beat it. Cool. Then Final Fantasy VIII came out, and I absolutely fell in love with the story of 8. Squall, Rinoa, Laguna, like Ward, all of just everything. And I don't want to give too much away, but like just everything. The way everything worked together.
Shit talk 9, and I will not stand for that.
Okay, well, you
is amazing.
You just got to bear with me. So now I had 3D graphics in 7, I had person-size graphics in 8, and then 9 comes out, and as somebody who started with 7, I didn't see it as paying homage to 1 through 6. I saw it as, why the fuck are we going backwards? And remember, yeah, and this is one thing I'm consistent on, in my gaming, I don't like going backwards. I don't like, I'll go on par, but I don't want to go
I understand
backwards.
that.
And so,
I'll clarify that, like, I didn't like 9 when it came out. When I replayed it on PS4, I fell in love with it.
oh,
And I think it's one
I've
of the
bought
best.
it. I've bought it 1, 2, 3 different times in my life. I have, because I have it as the PS1 Classic on the PS3. I have it on the PS4, and I bought it on the original PS1. Like, I've owned the game. I have tried it, but so then I was like, okay. And then I saw the trailer for Final Fantasy VII, or for Final Fantasy X. I mean, it was Final Fantasy X
Oh.
that literally brought me and solidified. I didn't give a damn. I even played 10-2.
10 is really good.
10-2 is absolutely.
That launch
It's
lineup
slept
for
on.
PlayStation 2 was amazing.
And so that's my story. But Final Fantasy VII was the jumping off point. Final Fantasy VII was something that, up to that point, I had been playing mainly Mario, Sonic, Contra, Bad Dudes, Super Mike Tyson Punch-Out. Like, a lot of not intellectually challenging games. Say it that way. Hard games, mechanically sound games, but not strategy. I don't have to know, okay, this spell does this thing, and if I do this thing, then that weakens it to have this other person come in and do another thing, and then that builds onto this and then comes over here, and then you do that 25 times, the thing no, it was dodge to the left, dodge to the right, press A, press B, build up your stamina meter, hit start, do a uppercut, and the dude fell. Like, not super hard, but not super easy, but not strategy given, right? Not strategy based. Holy crap, we have 9 in here. That is officially double what we had in here for Spider-Man. So
Come
I
on
am
in, people,
floored.
let's go.
Thank y'all so
Welcome aboard.
much. That makes
Thanks
me
for
happy.
coming.
I can't wait to share
Yeah,
all of
we're gonna
these
have a great
feelings with
time.
y'all. And so it was the first game that I had played that literally challenged me to really figure shit out. Like, I didn't have the guide. I didn't get the guide until later. And so fast forward, they do the remake. It's okay. I love it. I'm glad they got the door to be finally made of wood and not steel. That was kind of cool. They give us the ending. The ending, we're all kind of scratching our heads going, well, what does it mean? Are you sure? Because at this point, we didn't know that it was going to be 3 games. We thought it could have been 5. We thought they might just have to rush it because everything with Square Enix underperforms. And so, like, they're just going to have to rush it and throw it out the door. So we might get it on just one more game, and they would just combine it and cut the fluff. And because we saw Midgar, and we're like, damn, they just sent us through straight down every fucking hallway, corridor, slow walk, everything. And so you're like, Rebirth, okay. And Final Fantasy fans, we're hyped because we're like, oh, this is so cool. The rest of the world's looking at it and going, if you send me down another fucking hallway, I am never playing one of your games ever again. And so imagine they go ahead. I'm gonna load up a clip.
I honestly didn't mind the hallway stuff because I'm like,
you-
God of War and other games that were so highly rated did the same thing. So I was really confused why people complained about the hallway stuff.
I can tell you why I complained about it. It literally broke the pace of every single scene that you were in. You'd be running, going along, and then all of a sudden you had to
You gotta
walk.
crawl.
You have to crawl. Or you have to walk through a corridor. So, funny enough, we're gonna talk about.
While you're talking about corridors, I had a really interesting experience with Remake because I got it early because of COVID. So I got to play like half of Remake, and then we had the PS5 whatever it was, like the Road to PS5 thing with Mark Cerny, who talks about like how level design has changed and everything. So I had these like constriction pathways where he's like, yeah, you hit the thing, you crouch down, because they have to do all the other crap that he talks about in that, which was really wild to be like, I'm pushing against this, and then you have him talk about it, and then you're like, oh, that's not going to be a thing. Just an interesting thing.
Yeah, and
Nothing really of substance.
no, it's fine. You gave me time to load the clip because I played the demo of Rebirth. And Kofi, I was so happy that this was like the second video, I think, because it hit perfect. I was like, yeah, that's how we're starting the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth discussion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because
I tried to play the playlist in a way. Yeah.
This little shit right here. This right here is how they started you off. Watch this. Watch how awesome this is. Now, just watch. This was pre-patch too. You know how I can tell? I can see the damn dot ridges on frickin' Cloud's arm. Dude, when I loaded this video up, so for those who can't see it, it's the very opening scene where Cloud is literally crawling. Your DualSense is in your hand, acting like it has the Energizer Bunny inside of the damn thing, going crazy, and it's so aggressive in like how much the DualSense is going nuts, and your character
it went crazy.
And your character is moving at the speed of smell. It was so bad, and I'm like, you have got to be shitting me. I need the open world, and I need it now. And so
the DualSense fight you, I think, was one of the best things the game does. Like, I really like that because it like sells it.
Yes, like I'm sitting here like, and like the angst is building up in me because my character's not moving fast, and so one way or another, it stirred up that like, God, I got to go. I need to move, and so Josh went more, I think, how the developers intended. I went more of, this needs to hurry up. I want my open worlds.
Yeah, they played the part for suspense, and that beginning demo, I have to say, when I originally played the game, I was like, oh man, like, you know, Sephiroth's killing people, town's burning down, and everything. But in Remake, I'm like, oh my god, I literally just saw the mayor get beheaded right in front of me.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing, but yes.
I'm like, okay, I see where we're taking this, and I noticed the little cues too, with the Nibelheim incident about some different things, but I'm pretty sure we'll get into that. But
yeah, Nibelheim is interesting.
It was dark. Like, a lot of people seem to forget that Final Fantasy VII was a dark game. There was a lot of traumatic shit that happened.
Oh, it was super dark. It was one of the first ones they did that was away from like the medieval setting, from what I understand. And
correct.
So because of that,
said like steampunk.
Right, and it had this super dark and like it was eco-terrorism and like the storyboarding for this thing.
Yeah.
Guys,
6 is dark, but this is like the futuristic dark sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But 6
Shout out
is
to
very
Kafka,
dark.
right? Can't underestimate Kafka.
That crazy, that crazy bastard.
Well, and even games like Final Fantasy VIII, and I know give me just a sec. I know that we have, at the beginning, we're not talking about some of these other titles in depth, but like 7 and I'd say 7 is the darkest of the new ones. I would say.
For me.
Well, sorry, I don't. We can't get into that discussion.
It depends on how dark you want to get.
Well,
and there's some really dark stuff in 9 as well.
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's a different sort of dark.
I don't put 16 in. Final Fantasy games, as I will rank them, stopped at 15. 16 and forward, 16 and forward, guys, it's like the split between Assassin's Creed. Everything Syndicate before gets rated on its own scale. Everything Origins and forward gets rated on its own scale.
Do you have a different scale for either one?
I have a different scale for
I have a
16.
different scale for. I have a couple of scales for Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I'm like,
I can respect that actually.
because
Yeah, I think
they went a
that's
completely
fair.
different direction with mechanics and all of that. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and actually get into some of the questions that we actually had. Because up to this point, it's all just been conjecture and us just bullshitting. But let's go ahead and get into
Isn't that how it always is?
pretty much. But we actually do have questions. So we've already talked about what kind of really hooked y'all, what did that. Now, I want to ask 2 questions, but it's going to be one. It's going to be like a Doomsayer question. And so here, who's your favorite character to fight with? And out of the fighting characters, who is your favorite in this game and why? Not whole series, not Final Fantasy VII as a whole universe. In this game, who is your favorite to fight with, and who is your favorite overall of the fighting characters? So the main 6.
Oh, that's so tough because they're all so good. They're all so good.
Tell you what, I'll go first because I've been thinking about this for 6 months. Like this show I've been thinking about for 6 months. My favorite character, funny enough, in the real world is actually my least favorite to control in combat. My favorite character in the real world for this game is Barrett. The story beats that they gave him absolutely took his character, at least in my opinion, from a token, angry, hothead, like, I'm going to do whatever the heck I want and screw everybody else, to oh my god, there's actually, it's like Shrek. It's a big onion, and it stinks, and it's rough.
I don't see the connection.
But there's some layers there. There's some depth there. So in the movie Shrek, he talks about how ogres are like onions because there's different layers. They have multiple layers. There's more depth. And we really, really got to see that a ton in this. Now, the game kind of did do a episodic thing with the character arcs. So, like, you get Barrett for, like, 2/5 of the game, and then he's kind of silent the rest of it. But for the time that you're in his story arcs in the Corel region, those were some of the best character defining moments I can remember in these new Final Fantasy series. And he was a close second to Tifa. Or it was a close edge out between him and Tifa. But the way they made me care about him, when he was a character that I used to just, like, I never even interacted with him in the first one, like in the OG, because I didn't care. They actually gave him a lot of personality and a lot of depth. But he's my least favorite to fight with because I feel like you just stand there and do nothing. It's boring as hell.
It's slow. It's very. He's very much. If Final Fantasy VII had a class section, he very much would be like a ranger or an archer type guy. He just stands back there and deals the damage.
Right.
He's a tank, in my opinion. But...
tank. Yeah,
wait, he was your least favorite to play with, Thrifty?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I love Barrett's so cool.
No, my favorite to play with was it's a dead neck tie between Red 13 and Tifa.
Oh, okay.
Got it. Okay.
The combat for them was absolutely phenomenal. I got lethal as shit with Tifa. I could dodge. I could do everything. I could get myself thrown up in the air. I could beat the hell out of things. She was my magic caster too because of the way I had spec'd her out. So I'd have Aerith, Cloud, and Tifa at the end. Or not at the end. But leading up, I'd have Aerith, Cloud, and Tifa. And Josh was telling me, he goes, man, Tifa's so... Or maybe it was Cosmic. One of y'all was telling me about the casting her astral seal or whatever, the arcane ward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, yeah.
Probably would have been Josh, not me.
Casting the arcane ward and then using a spell in it, and you're like, yeah, it kills everything instantly, and it's like,
Yeah.
I was like, are
Because
you
it gives you
fucking
double cast,
kidding
so
me?
yeah.
And it is extremely useful.
And like, yeah.
We'll get to that.
So, anyways,
Yeah, we'll get to that.
it was pretty much broken. But all right, so that's mine. That's what I mean by those two questions. Like, Cloud is also up there. Yuffie also up there. My least favorite was, like I said, Barrett, and then Cat Sith. Or I'm sorry, that's from many years of Final Fantasy VII OG.
Kate. It's Kate Sith.
It's
she, but
it's
Kate.
Kate.
They say
It's
they
Kate.
Say Kate Sith. So.
Kate Sith, yes. That's that is from many
What
years
they
of
said.
calling him Cat Sith because
Don't put that on a final. Don't put that on a blog post because you'll have like 20 angry people yelling at each other about
bro,
it.
don't put that on here. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm getting attacked right now and nobody said anything negative. Like, I feel bad. But okay, so what about you, Cosmic? Once again, we're just gonna go from the top to the bottom. Cosmic, favorite character to play in the world, and out of those fighting characters, who's your favorite to control in a fight?
Okay. I don't know if my profile pic gives it away, but
So you like
Cloud
playing
was-
as Cloud from Advent Children. Got it. Okay.
I actually don't like that movie. To be very honest, I don't
didn't
like that movie.
Go
at all.
ahead. I stole your answer. Go ahead.
No, so Cloud is my favorite character to play as. He's extremely agile. His range attacks with the beam saber slashes is very useful because that was one of my things with Cloud in Remake, where I felt as though the characters were a little limited with the move sets. Rebirth just basically fixed all that and then turned it up to an 11. Cloud is my favorite character to play as, and I guess in a real world sense, I guess he'd be my favorite too. Like the problem with me though is that I've put so many hours into this game that I love every single one of these characters, like how they play, how things are. I have them set up for multiple, like this character does that, this character does that. I have this materia there, that materia there, but all in all, Cloud is my go-to. He's well-rounded, great magic caster, great damage dealer, and overall fun gameplay. I don't know if you guys know, do this in the game, but when you have an enemy up in the aerial, and then you press triangle and you slash down onto the ground for the enemy, that is the most, when I first did that, I was like, I felt so badass doing it. It was so freaking, it was so cool. Cloud's gameplay definitely improved, and that was the very first thing when I played the Nibelheim demo. I was like, okay, this feels different, but I like this. I like this a lot. I definitely, Cloud is number one. I guess, 2, I would say, is Tifa. Tifa's very quick. She's a very good damage dealer. Especially if you have, a speed materia and everything, you can get her ATB bar up really quick and everything. And then I'd have Barrett, Aerith, and then Kate Sith is kind of going to probably be on the last of here. And just the way that the very much the luck plays into his character. I didn't do a lot of the luck leveling up, so Kate Sith is probably going to be on the lower end of characters that I like.
You didn't put Yuffie in there.
Oh, whoops. I think Yuffie. If I had to say, Yuffie's probably in the mid range of Barrett and Aerith. She's very I love Yuffie because of the way the range combat. So if you throw her giant shuriken, she can cast different elemental spells and everything. Deals a lot of damage really quickly.
Okay. The reason I bring up Yuffie is because Yuffie is my favorite to play as.
I was waiting for somebody to say her.
She is
Yuffie
broken as fuck.
Oh,
She is so broken.
If you know what you're doing.
She's
Watching this
so
gameplay,
broken.
I assume it was Kofi, he did not use Yuffie correctly. He underused her in a very obvious way. He stood in Aerith's what is it? The flower thing on the ground where you get double cast. Use doppelganger, then use the fuck out of all your magic. You will hit them 4 times.
You
All
I
do
have a
double
response.
cast on all
I
of
have
it.
a response.
Yeah.
I have a response for that.
Doppelganger
Okay.
is so broken.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead,
No,
Kofi. What was your response?
I'll give you a chance.
Oh yeah. So this fight is at level 43. I totally agree with you. It's doppelganger. I definitely want to use it there, but if you don't kill Alexander while Odin is banished, you die. If you,
Yes,
this is on my first playthrough on normal.
Okay.
So I had to get rid of Alexander. This is literally like my 75th try.
Okay. Yep. That's right.
So
I'll
I
I'll
completely
give you
agree
some
with you.
leeway.
If you look at the menus, you'll see my wheels turning because I don't have enough MP to really cast what I want. But the one wrong decision and Odin wipes me.
Yes.
And as you
correct.
saw,
Oh yeah,
Alexander
Odin
wiped
was
me.
a pain.
Alexander wiped
Yes.
me, but I had the
Yes.
entire team with the auto revive. That's the only reason I beat Odin. Is everybody on the, or it's like Cloud didn't get hit, I think, but Aerith and Tifa went down. But I mean, Yuffie and Aerith went down. I'm sorry.
Aerith, yeah.
But yes,
That's
I
right.
completely agree. I wanted to do it there, but I just didn't have enough time.
Yeah. Okay, it's okay. I was just having some fun. But yes, Yuffie is my favorite to play as because Yuffie is awesome and incredibly broken if you know what you're doing. Like her using Quake with doppelganger and double cast is unreal.
Dude, she's amazing.
And then her, like, she can get everyone like max ATB in seconds. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
What you can do with her. Like if you know what you're doing, you pretty much need Aerith with you as well to destroy virtually anything. And because I'm doing my hard playthrough, I'm very well versed on how Yuffie plays for that playthrough because she's 100% necessary for that.
Well, because she can steal mana. Like, she can steal MP.
Oh yeah.
Heavily.
But you can use how you do it is you set up your stuff to give your ATB to the other people on your team, max out their magic. Like, so you would use Aerith, you would use Tifa, because Tifa, you can get her strength up, then use strength to magic. So it flips them. So she ends up with like 400 magic. And then
she was my caster.
You can get Aerith to use her double casting. They can both stand back and use Argus spells while Yuffie uses Brumal Form and just gives everyone like infinite AP. Which
so
very much breaks the game in a terrible way in that it draws the performance to a crawl.
Well, and that's not the performance. We're going to get into that on the next question.
Yeah.
But like there were a couple things. This is what I think I loved about this and why I think this, like, why I have to have a different grading scale, because that is what I loved about this title over 16. You could find broken bullcrap to do. Like, element-based, things like that. All of those things played a factor. Like, I use the assess in this game more than any Final Fantasy game I have ever played. Because I always had to see how you staggered them.
Scan everything
No,
you have to do it. You have to use assess to get a lot of the side quests and stuff done as well.
Yeah.
Well, right, but I had to do it because I had to figure out how the hell to stagger them. Because I'm sitting here fighting these stupid things. There was one, it was like this thing that had a chain on it, and it would, like, you had to get it to come over to this pillar. It was towards the end of the game. You had to get it to come over to this pillar, and you had to kill it and stagger it to where it would hit the pillar and it would collapse the building or whatever.
Oh, I know what he's talking about.
I literally died to that damn thing so many times. And then I got good enough fighting it to where I wouldn't die ever, but I also wouldn't win. And, like, I was like, do what?
What enemy are you talking about?
It's like a golem or something, I think. You had to fight it there because there's like a pillar that's being held up, and you have to stagger it, and then while it's staggered, you have to defeat it while it's staggered, so it'll stagger itself and, like, stumble and knock out this pillar.
Yeah.
And you have to do it twice. And, like, I could not figure it out. It took me like an hour and a half to finally just go in, and I hit assess, and I was like, damn, I should have done that earlier.
Yeah,
Like,
seven Rebirth definitely made me have to like really think what I applied to who.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I love that. I love that about this game. It's like, oh, I can do so many cool things. And Thrifty brought up the fact of like, oh, 16 is very much different. Like 16 is a very much different game with how it does the magic and it does everything else. It's more of a combo-esque game with
Mm-hmm.
icons. While 7 is more of a over the top arena JRPG battle.
Yeah, literally death by 1,000 cuts.
Basically, like this is probably the most fast action packed battling system I've seen in a Final Fantasy game ever.
It is
like,
my
there's
favorite.
So much going on, and that's why it is my favorite too as well. There's so much going on.
So, Kofi,
Really? Yeah.
you haven't had a chance to answer, so
yes.
I want to wrap
So,
this back and let you answer the question.
Absolutely. So I actually also think that Yuffie is the best playable character in the game ever since I played Intergrade. And
Yep.
I just remember playing with it like for the first time in that expansion to the
Yeah.
original game and thinking, "Oh, I love how
Same.
snippy she is and approaching the enemy and having her close melee and then jumping back and then kind of comboing spells." I thought that was so cool. And it reminded me of I forget the name of the limit break, but she has a limit break where she I'm thinking of the original PS1 Final Fantasy 7 where she would do like a lot of combo strikes and slashes. I think it was like a level 3 limit break.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like I think it's called blood something maybe. It reminds me of her regular attack pattern. I thought that was so cool. And then as we were just talking about, where she has this doppelganger, and then she has some really cool like wind attacks. I just fell in love with that. So by far, Yuffie gameplay wise. In terms of like overall personnel, but really quick, I would say a close second is Barrett. I really liked. Maybe it was me how I set Barrett up, but Barrett would be my like kind of like tank guy, where if he ends up taking a lot of hits, he can kind of still have some health left. He can still what's it called? Kind of do range damage if like there's too much going on, too much chaos going on close up. You'll see here that I use him in the fight against Gilgamesh, and I have him casting haste. But yet he can come and take those 1 slashes, that Gilgamesh goes crazy with. Just fine. The other thing is he has that skill that when he slams his gun on the ground and it causes explosion on him. You can juggle people with it, and you can like just complete interrupt nasty mobs of like stronger enemies.
Okay, maybe I was just using them wrong then. Like,
oh my gosh, actually I have it in here when you're fighting against when the team is teaming up with Reno and Rude and fighting those frogs that like turn you into frogs.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, that was great.
That was crazy. So I just had Barrett slamming his gun. Like he would get a bar, slam his gun, get a bar, slam his gun. And the things are just juggling. It looks like toys flying in the air. And I was like, this is amazing. And then I loved like when Barrett and Red 13 are kind of like forced to work together, even though they don't really have compatibility, right? They just kind of like
they don't like each other.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of come off as not so much liking each other. It's so funny. My best friend said that too. He said Red 13 and Barrett don't like each other.
Barrett very much acts like the dad. I gotta say, like, Barrett is probably one of my favorite dads in a game.
Yes.
Like how much he cares about Marlene, how much he treats
now
Cloud.
He is. To me.
Well, now he is. Because in the original, you didn't really get a lot of that, but the remake and Rebirth really accentuate that. Yeah, Barrett very much cares about his adopted daughter. Spoiler. And he, there's a sequence where he has a moment with Cloud where he almost like treats Cloud like his own son. And I thought that was extremely, extremely wholesome. The little banter between him and Yuffie was always funny. It's like Barrett just like, I have this adopted new daughter and she's a little shit. it's just like it
was so also a growing opportunity for him as well. Like,
yeah.
that's one of the things that I loved about the interactions with his character, because y'all are right. He didn't like, even towards the end, he still didn't seem to really like Red 13 much. But like, they did kind of grow on each other.
That impression. Yeah, I feel like they really grew on each other.
They grew, yes, but like still not his favorite person. Just like Kate Sith, he ain't gonna be his favorite person for a while. Like
not for at least a little bit, yeah.
There's some now. Fun fact: I can't remember who Kate Sith actually is inside Shinra.
I think he's the Department of not Research and Development. Yeah. He's the urban. He's the urban.
But
guy.
Isn't it? There's. It's like it's a name. It's a Final Fantasy lore name that I should remember, and I can't for the life of me.
I can't remember his name either, but yeah, it's.
I can look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, look it up real quick, because I think he's mentioned in some other titles or something like that. But anyways,
one last thing I wanted to say.
Sure.
About my favorite character personality wise. Oh, I would say I'm going by playable characters, because it would be Vincent.
That's why I worded it very specific.
Yes, I would say Vincent leaning against a wall, crossing his arms and grunting had me like giddy. That's how crazy I was. Like, oh, Vincent!
He couldn't.
I'm like, but he's so cool.
Yeah. He couldn't get the Shinra phone to work. He was like,
yes.
He's like,
no, I loved. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can't get. It's like I can't get this thing to work. And Kate sits like, you do this, that, and the other, and it works. He's like, I totally knew that.
But I love that that is from Advent Children, and I love that they carried that from Advent Children into this game. I did not expect that. That was really cool, because remember, he like had a phone, but he didn't have a phone, right? And he was like,
yeah, he didn't have a phone in Advent Children, yeah. Because it's I think it's Marlene asks for a phone, and he opens his thing like, I don't have anything.
Right, yeah, exactly. And but personality-wise, I had a gripe with the PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy VII with Tifa. I really thought that Tifa needed to be a little more forward with how she pressed her way to Cloud. And
I agree.
Whoa. Hang on. You're talking negative about my girl. You're talking negative about my girl, and I need to know what you actually just said.
Well, but hold on. So
like
that was to me, it became almost like a trope that I saw in many other JRPGs that I played after 7. I'm like, oh, the girl and the guy, they like each other, but they're too shy to ever say anything. And then when the story ends, you don't really know where they stand.
Well, I know yes, because that was 8. That was 10.
But 8 ended definitively.
Well, sure. I get that, but yeah.
But really, one last thing I just want to say really quick. So, in Rebirth, I feel like Tifa is way more mature and way more forward. And I was like, I love her level up. Like it's a complete one. Like when she talked to him after he like attacked her, and they got they fought Scarlet. The girls fought Scarlet, and he was hurt and all that stuff. And she was like, "I'm here for you, like you were here for me." I was like, "Oh." Tifa from PS1 game wouldn't do that.
That's different.
Yeah.
But real quick, really Kofi. It was Reeve. Reeve is the guy from.
That's what it is.
Reeves,
okay.
Yeah, he's the guy who says, "Shouldn't we really focus about cleaning up and everything?" The president's like, "Nah, fuck it. We'll just we're gonna go find."
He's the guy who doesn't seem to be along with it.
Yep. No. Okay. That makes. I was like, damn, I should have remembered that.
But I think that, talking about Tifa... Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think my favorite character for character development in the game is Tifa. Because I think her character is different and it's awesome. And I think she does go so far away from what she was in the original. I think that's exactly what she should be. And I like the idea, because we'll touch on it a little bit later, I'm sure, of that it seems that everyone's talking about Cloud behind his back, because they are.
Yes!
And they sort of hint at it.
They are very worried about him.
Yeah, they know that something's wrong with Cloud, but they don't want to tell him that. So we don't see those conversations, but clearly they're happening. And I think that's a really nice touch to it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so real quick. It annoyed the fire out of me that every single person treated Cloud with kit gloves. I kid you not. I was so pissed off because
Why wouldn't they?
well,
The dude's gonna
Okay.
have a mental breakdown.
so but wait a second. So in the first one, Barrett was all like the original, right? Barrett was like always like, dude, snap out of it, suck it up, you're a liability, you're this and that. This one, it's all after Cloud screws up and almost tries to kill him again. It's like freaking, hey, you good, man? You should be punching him in the fucking throat. The dude just tried to kill y'all. Like,
think
That
difference
that
being-
slap that Barrett gave him was personal. I felt that
Yeah.
slap.
The
ah,
reason it doesn't happen is because like they've seen what Cloud can do, so whether they're scared of him, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
True.
but
Here's the
Tifa's
thing.
not.
I-
Aerith isn't.
I'll-
No, but that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Is like because Tifa's known him as a kid, so I think they
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
a lot of that talking about
Yeah.
it to
And
Tifa.
But
and-
she
and
also
to go
knows
off-
that he's pretending to be Zack.
But like I get it, but I don't know if
I think to
letting
me,
him
like
go along with it is the right move.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead,
like,
Cosmo. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying this because okay, and this might lead into a later discussion.
Probably.
Cloud is special. We all know that. Okay,
More ways
what
than one.
happened to him. What happened to him and everything. If he were to turn evil, he'd be almost as scary as Sephiroth. He's extremely strong. He's powerful. He's extremely skilled with a sword and fighting and magic. Do you want to fight someone like that who's completely turned evil? I wouldn't. I would run the other way and say, "See y'all later."
Well, and the other thing, like the descrambling of his brain has not happened yet.
No, and he's remembering things earlier than intended to as well.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna skip forward a bit to the hang on. I have other questions before we get to the end in the story.
Thrifty's like, I have a plan. We're gonna stick to
Well,
it.
because I do, like I said, I do want to ask these questions. Also, guys, Falky said he'd be here in about 13, 14, 15, 20 minutes. So his
Yeah,
one of
he
his
had a
meeting
meeting.
has ran longer, and that's cool.
Falky's a busy man.
He is. The fact that I was going to be able to get him on the show for twice in 1 month was going to be really cool. So, okay, so let's talk about some housekeeping before we go deep into everything else. I should have started
Okay.
with this first, but I didn't. And I started with something that was going to lead us into story. That's my fault. My bad. So, who played when you played this game? I played it day one. I know every single one of y'all in here played it day one.
Mm-hmm. I took the day off of work.
So you took the day off
Wish
of
I took
work.
the day off work.
I did not, but I played it as soon as I got home, and the first thing I noticed was, why the hell is this game blurry as shit? That was the literal first thing I noticed. Second thing I noticed was, oh, I'm going to put it in 60 frames per second mode and then not care. But did y'all play this thing at 60 or did y'all play it at 30?
I would
I-
guess I played it at 30, but I don't have good enough vision to really
Okay.
tell or care.
I know Kofi played it at 60, but he started at 30. I can tell from the videos that you've sent. It's because I have really good vision, and that shit bothers the fuck out of me. So
Yeah, it's pretty perceptive.
also the 30 FPS had more artifacting around the lines during the cutscenes. Yeah. I have problems, and I know that about myself. I don't expect everybody else to pause it, take a photo, unpause it, switch modes, load back into the game, take another photo, and then compare the two side by side. Like,
We're gonna Digital Foundry 5,000% increase look on each individual pixel of this.
so
of the
that
game.
was the problem, though. With this game, you didn't need to do that. That was my issue.
I can't
So-
see it.
Yeah, I was fine with the game the way it looked. I know some people are like, "Oh, it's muddy" and all this other kind of stuff, but to have everything basically in one seamless open area in today's world is impressive. And it also leads into the fact of why I, as an individual, am very interested in the PlayStation 5 Pro, because of that they're going to fix this issue. Because when they revealed the Pro, when I saw Final Fantasy VII, it was a night and day difference. It looks so much sharper and so much cleaner. But originally, it didn't bother me because I'm like, I'm having too much fun playing the damn game to notice.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at a certain point, I said, you know what, I'm going to keep playing it because I loved the game. But it was kind of jarring, and then thankfully they released like the 2 different modes right about the time I got to Costa del Sol, and I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing. I'm in heaven.
Costa del Sol is beautiful.
So that is going to lead us in to the next question. What was your favorite area? Like, so Cosmic, we'll start with you. Out of the areas that we got to explore, Nibelheim, Costa del Sol, the Coral region, the Golden Saucer, Mount Cosmo Canyon, what was your favorite place to explore? Or not to explore, but what was your favorite setting?
I could be smart and say Cosmo because Cosmic, but no.
Ha ha ha.
Yes, I'm funny. To me, I think the most eye-popping area was definitely the Gold Saucer of just how much was going on, colors, people, the music and everything, and it was so bombastic. But in terms of like natural scenery, I'm gonna have to go with the Corel region. The Corel region is so like vastly different. Like it's got a desert, and then if spoiler alert, if you have the dune buggy, you can cross between the desert and then into the beach section. The beach section it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I loved most of all the areas, but I think Costa del Sol takes the top spot.
Okay. Josh, what about you?
My favorite area to be in is the Gold Saucer, just because of what's there to do. But
so many mini games, many mini
all
games.
The mini games, and they're all fun, and there's
Space Ranger
going on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when we'll get to like a side quest, I'm going to talk about that more. For like the actual region, it's probably Costa del Sol. I really like that one a lot, just because there's a lot of stuff to do, and it's by the beach, and it looks nice, and it has a vibe going on.
Got a relaxing vibe.
It's a whole vibe.
We just we just came off from a boat where things invaded, and then we land, we get to land, and then it's like, here's a flower necklace.
When you get to chapter 6, it does seem like the beach episode of an anime, like when you're in Costa del Sol.
Oh yeah.
I kind of figured it was going to be that way.
Yes. I support that 100% with what you're saying. The stream abruptly ended.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Oh.
Is it back?
It's going again, but it cut out for a second.
Is it back?
It says I'm having minor issues, but I also have 5 people on here at once, which is...
Yeah, it went down for me, then came back up like a second later.
I don't understand it. Anyways, we're going to be getting some tech help on that.
PCs, everybody.
No, it's not PCs. I really think Streamlabs released an update.
Streaming.
And Streamlabs released an update, and now everybody's having trouble on it. And so I'm about to switch over to OBS. Anyways, that's other channel shit, not this.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so Kofi, what was yours? Favorite setting?
I'm gonna say the Nibelheim greater area with the chocobos that kind of like shoot water and you kind of fly around. I thought that was really fun.
The ones that shoot water out their ass, it was so great.
I was like,
flying
this
chocobos.
is creative. And like, there were some areas I got to, and I was like, oh gosh. Chadley's like, hey, I have 30 things for you to do, and I'm like, okay, I'll get to them. To be honest, I generally like them, but sometimes I think it was like 2 back-to-back zones. I was just like, oh, okay, I'm not doing all this right now. I'm just going to go do the stories.
Chadley's like, I got 20 different things for you to do. And I'm like, I can't do all of them.
Yeah,
it's Gongaga and then it's Cosmo Canyon that are both huge, and there's so much shit to do there.
Oh my
They're
god.
right after each other.
I know, and it sucks so bad.
that you could. So yeah, I would say Nibelheim was a number one, really refreshing. But another one that I liked had a lot of. It was a grassy area with a lot of verticality, and I think her name is Shizune. Was the ex-Turks girl? That's her hometown?
Oh,
Yeah,
Gongaga.
It's Gongaga. And
Yeah, it's the one
not
with
her
the
hometown. It's Zach's hometown.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach's hometown,
It's
yes.
the one with the
She's just
chocobo
there
that like
because of Zach.
walks up the side of the mountains, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
It's the
That's
one with
Junon.
the dead
Junon's
reactor.
the
That's
one.
Junon. That's Junon.
Yeah, the Gongaga is the dead reactor.
Yes,
Is that
yeah,
the one
and
where
that's
you
where
have to
Scarlet
like
is and
launch
everything,
yourself
yeah.
and like glide to the next thing?
One
Yeah,
of the
you jump on.
Yes.
Oh, I hated
One of
that
you
section.
jump on the what are they called? The mushrooms to get around.
the
Yeah.
pink mushroom, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that one was
Yeah.
okay. The one I hated was the
That-
glide one, where it was Cosmo Canyon, where
Yeah,
you
it's
had to
Cosmic
like.
Canyon.
Oh my god! Thankfully, they gave you the super fun one right after, where
Yeah.
the blue
Yeah.
chocobo that shoots water and lets you fly. I thought it was fantastic. It was awesome. But my favorite level, surprisingly, and not my favorite level, but my favorite place, my favorite setting, it's kind of because of the music. And I mentioned this to Josh when it was one of the themes that just like enthralled me. Like I was just like trapped in it the whole time I was playing it. It's when you're under Shinra Manor with Cat Sith,
Oh. Yeah.
because you're controlling this cat. You're in this area. You have to use this fucking big ass stuffed toy to move these boxes. There's this Nightmare Before Christmas / carnival / circus came to town music playing in the background. And
Yeah.
you're like, it is eerie and creepy and like happy-go-lucky at the same
Kind of
time.
like Kate Sith.
Yeah, and at the same time, I expect something just to jump out and scare the shit out of me. And like,
Which something does.
it does, and it felt just like that. Yeah, I did kind of jump when Hojo comes out, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay, but like, yes, it was quite terrifying. Caused a little bit of a heart palpitation. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't do all that, but it definitely made me jump a little bit. But like, that was my favorite that was my favorite setting. It just felt, everything about it felt right. Everything felt like it could have been just the throwaway gimmick level. It could have been just something to put in, give you some
Yes.
fluff, let you control this other character, but like it had its own theme. It had its own challenges that could only be done with the mogul. Like
They
That was such
they-
a cool dungeon to
yeah,
experience. I couldn't believe
they
it.
did
it really was.
they did that a couple of times with some of the characters, like in the Mithril Caves with Barrett and Red 13, where
Yeah,
Barrett
I love that.
Hang on, guys.
Bear-
They're still saying the stream ended. Give me just a second. Is it still up for y'all? Because there's still 6 people in here saying it's up.
I've got it
I
on and it's
got it
working.
live. Yeah, I got it live.
Yeah.
It's still playing Kofi's gameplay. I can
Yeah.
still see it.
Gilgamesh dancing.
I would say, how do you know that's not my gameplay, but it's in Japanese. It's a dead giveaway. It's
Kofi-
not mine.
Kofi's the only one I know that plays the game.
Oh yeah,
in
no, it's still live.
Yeah,
We are still. Oh yeah, and my frames, my little thing now says it's only having minor issues. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say it went down pretty low, then went back.
Yeah,
up.
I
Okay.
can see Zero Steel.
Awesome.
Zero Steel said it's up now.
They're still
Okay.
working on my internet here also. But anyways, so like, yes, they could have done like just a piddly bullshit with the dungeon, but they didn't, and that stood out to me so much because I hated. So the characters in the original that I never liked playing as were Kate Sith and Aerith, because I knew she died on my second and third and fourth playthroughs. I would always mainline Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud.
Main three.
What a-
Those
Really?
are-
Tifa, Barrett, actually, yeah, Barrett
Yeah.
was actually good in the OG.
Well, in the
so-
OG,
I
Barrett
always
could
had-
do some damage.
Oh yeah.
Gee, I always
mean,
went
he
with
got a
Cloud,
big-
Tifa, and Red 13.
Oh, yes.
Cloud, Tifa,
I-
and Red 13. Okay.
Yeah. It was never Aerith because she never did enough damage, and I didn't want to keep her, like, healthy. And so, at least that's the way I ran it.
actually agree that I never
Yeah.
was. Yeah, to me, she was gone too quick. Like, I wanted to get all
Yeah.
her limit breaks and stuff. I'm like,
So-
oh, dang.
You can get her limit breaks.
Yes, you can get everything
yeah,
of hers.
I know someone who got her level 4 limit break before she got stabbed.
Yep.
Because,
Nice.
like,
Yeah, to get the
like,
platinum on the
like
OG,
more.
you have to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible. She is also the first ultimate weapon you get is hers.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Which is
wisdom rod, I think,
very
is what it is. Or
very foreshadowing.
It's
like,
Yes.
huh.
Anyways.
I was like, huh. Cloud doesn't get his until the end of the game. Aerith doesn't get his till the end of the game. Tifa does.
Right.
And then Aerith gets hers, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Tifa, you gotta jump through 45 hoops just to get the damn thing. Just like any woman.
I saw this funny comic where, Tifa's limit break where it's the slot machines.
Yeah.
It's just, I saw this funny comic where Tifa's just addicted to slot machines now, and she wins every time because Cloud's like, oh, she must be used to this.
Okay, so yeah, so those were kind of the sections that stuck out to all of us. What were yours? Let us know in the comments, especially if you're watching this video afterwards. Not gonna lie, I didn't use Aerith that much because she is slow as fuck to build her ATB up. So
if you use it wrong.
So here there's actually some pretty cool stuff that you can do. So I had the ATB boost on her and on Tifa. So after Josh told me the little hack, I would go over to her, do the boost, drop my ward, go back over to Tifa, do the boost. By that point, I had 2 full bars on Tifa, and I was able to cast like the highest level of a spell, and it would just like double and triple cast that shit. And so like if fights were over before they started because of the way I was able to build my characters.
If you use, I think it's called unique ability materia with Aerith.
Yeah.
You can use magic with her when she's controlled by an AI. She'll automatically teleport to that double cast thing, and then use it straight away.
Really?
So you can not control it, and she'll automatically do it for you.
Yeah, so it makes her extremely smart, and it'll have her go over there.
Yeah, and she'll
That's
use
really
all the
cool.
magic in that cast space, so she double casts everything. So you give her like Genji gloves and max out her magic, and she's unstoppable.
Pretty much. And so it's I definitely think that in the first game, the original, she was not the one. But in this, and I even think in Remake, I didn't like using her much in Remake. But in this,
really powerful.
Really interesting,
dude, I hated using her in Remake. Absolutely.
In Remake.
In Remake, yes. In this one, I didn't know how powerful and how OP she was.
You have to get good with her in Remake to be able to beat Remake on hard.
If you know how to build Aerith, she can become very broken.
So that's the other thing is I don't play these games to where they need to be broken.
Yeah. Because I'm doing on hard and that.
Right, you're doing them on hard, and I'm over here like, classic and normal
on
are
Remake,
great.
I've got the platinum and everything, so you have to do hard, so you have to know how to use everyone like perfectly. And like they did change stuff from Remake to Rebirth. Like Tifa is no longer as broken as she was.
She still hits like a tank.
I was going to say, she's still pretty good, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She does, She used to be able to give people AP. Like the ATV charges, she can't do that anymore. So they
removed
her
that
a little bit
because you can boost hers up so fast.
Yes, yeah. And
that was the trade-off.
The stagger meter a lot more than everyone else.
So okay,
you give like stop to Kate Sith, and then you can stop them in stagger, and then you can multiply it up to like 200-300%.
So we are now at an hour and 15. Let me go ahead and move us on to the next question.
Good thinking.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and skip performance graphical. We kind of talked about that already. We're going to go ahead and skip favorite feature in the game for right now because I think we should talk about one of the key mechanics of the first one that I feel was underutilized grossly in this one. And I felt like it was underutilized grossly in Final Fantasy 15 as well. The summons, like, you get them, you can fight them, you can earn them, some of them you get through the story, like, but I never was able to cast them they always showed up late. They always showed up, and then you could maybe get a move or two off with them, and then they'd be gone. I think I was only able to catch a few of their ultimates because there were only a couple fights where they got to like use them. And so I felt like they were completely underutilized, and they were some of my favorite parts of the original. I loved them, and but it's kind of like that. It's not as bad as 15, where it's like, yep, randomly this bitch will just show up. Like there are certain
runs out of nowhere.
Right, like Rama, Odin. Why? Like why now? I'm fighting a angry rabbit. What are you doing? And it's like, you can summon me. No, I don't want to. Like, go away. Like,
I don't need you.
We're fine. But then in 15, you would go and then you'd fight this big, massive turtle, and it's like, where summon anybody?
Hello?
Can we
Pick up the phone?
And it's like, well, okay, crap. So it's not as bad. Like, there are fights where you are going to get your summons. They are going to come out. But I just felt like they were underutilized. And kind of, this is just a free-for-all. Actually, Kofi, you've been going last on all of these. So I'll start with you. Do you think the summons were underutilized?
I don't know if I agree. I guess I think that the process, I hate to say this is kind of biased, but because I was so up on getting Gilgamesh in my first playthrough, I felt so rewarded.
Yeah.
And I there was some summons, we were seeing for the first time, like Kujata. I honestly had forgotten Kujata was so cool. So I don't know. I'll say this. I'm very happy with the summons they had appeared. The only thing I think of that I would hope to see is maybe a different version of Bahamut. I'd love to see like a Zero or something
we'll get Zero.
That would be really.
Don't they have Neo already? Don't they?
There was like so in the Japanese version they call it Bahamut Kai, but I don't know. Was it called Neo?
There's two Bahamuts, right? Well, there's
there's a more powerful.
Yeah,
Well, there's
two
three in the
different
original.
ones.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. There's
Yeah.
three in the original.
Oh yes, yes.
Bahamut
there's
Zero, and Neo Bahamut.
And Neo Bahamut, right? So I'm curious if we'll get a different Bahamut on the other game. The next
surely.
game, and then
Omega Bahamut or something.
Omega, and then of course we have to talk about Knights of the Round at some point.
Oh my god!
No.
Can't wait.
This is
So
this
crazy.
is the summoning section. So I guess what I was saying was in combat, I think they integrated them into like the boss rush mode. They gave you a reason to try to chase after collecting all of them and getting them. But like in the combat, which is where I really need a summon, it's like they were relegated, it felt like, to the side mission. And that was kind of, in the other one, hell dude, you needed them. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You weren't getting through some of those fights without being able to cast Ifrit or Shiva or have these these things come down. And Knights of the Round, hell, you couldn't beat the two. You couldn't beat Ruby or Emerald Weapon without Knights of the Round. Knights of the Round, Quad, Mimic, and one other materia, and it would auto cast Knights of the Round infinitely, and it would kill them. Like,
by the way, my main three was Cloud, Vincent, Sid.
Ooh,
that was like really.
That's a good one.
You were one of the. You were edgy. You had black hair and eyeliner, didn't you? That's what. That's what you just told me.
When Vincent first transformed into Hellmasker, I was like, "What is this?" No, this is like 12-year-old me. Right? I'm like, "Oh my god, this is crazy! I gotta like know everything about this guy." So of course, we haven't even talked about it, but when he transformed in Rebirth, I was just like, my jaw was on the ground. While I was like, "I died!
Oh my god!
I died!" I was like, "This is I died." So
it was really cool.
It is what it is. It was so cool. So much respect to him, man.
The way that they did, I will say this. The first one, remake, had so many... amazing moments, but putting it in a vacuum at the end. This is what Josh and I've seen him tell people, and I know I've told people. In a vacuum, Final Fantasy VII Remake is amazing for what it is and when it came out. It's a phenomenal game. A beautiful retelling of what happened in Midgar. But compared to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Rebirth is better. It's like
agreed.
Agreed. In a vacuum, because Will has tried to say stuff like, "Man, just Remake sucks so bad it turned me off to Rebirth." Well, like, listen, they're totally different. And then, of course, they start you out crawling on your belly, which I got a good chuckle out of. Like, that's funny. All of us Final Fantasy fans have been telling folks, no, this one's going to be different. And then you start us out on our belly crawling with the DualSense fighting us like a 3-year-old trying to take your controller away. Like, it doesn't work.
Watching people get murdered.
just watching people get murked, and you're like, oh, this is yeah, guys, it's going to get better, I promise. Well, how does it end? Shit. Yeah. You know what? Never mind. Just stop playing.
I almost akin Remake and Rebirth almost to like Kingdom Hearts 1 to then Kingdom Hearts 2, where Kingdom Hearts 1 was a good, solid ground to build off of, and then Kingdom Hearts 2 just went to the moon with it. You know, you had dual key blade wielding, you had, you know, a whole bunch of new stuff to explore, a whole bunch of new stuff, and that's the way I feel about Rebirth. I feel as though that Rebirth is like Remake just turned up to an 11, and I cannot wait to see what the final part's going to be, because I feel as though that they're going to build off of what they have with Rebirth. Like, again, they have the entire world map.
I want to see Sid call Highwind and just drop bombs on people. That's gotta be so cool.
Yes. They've already said that in the next part they want you to be able to fly the Highwind. But whether that's possible, I don't know.
Well, so here's the problem.
That sounds like a big ask.
Well, so I was a little pissed off at the Tiny Bronco because I couldn't actually control it.
Not well.
There was no. There was no. You could have. I literally tested this.
You mean just like motion controlling it?
Yeah, I literally set the controller down, and it didn't matter where it went.
Yeah.
Because if you earlier in the game, you get this dune buggy that's fucking sick. It's awesome. The damn thing gets you everywhere you want to go. It's so great. Well, in that region. But like, then you're in the Tiny Bronco, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna get to fly it. And then you're like, oh, well.
They don't fly it in the original, so it didn't blow my mind that it was just in the water.
I thought they did, and then it blew up. Like, you got to fly it for like a half a second, and then it blew up.
Not that I remember.
And then you use it as a boat.
And then you use it as a boat.
Okay. Maybe I was misremembering then. Like,
yeah.
Because I remembered that.
I don't remember it flying. Yeah, I remember it being
flew.
like, it crashes like 5 minutes.
Well, then that's a fictitious made-up gripe that I have nothing negative to say about it, because that little ship was fun.
You're in the water with it anyway, so...
When they were all on the ship together right before it crashed, that was a big moment to me, because the whole team was
so cool.
Together for the first time. Like, when they're all just sitting in the chairs together, I'm like, this is what we were waiting for.
And Vincent rocks up. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's the scene in Final Fantasy X when they get on the Highwind with the Albed. Like, everybody's there. Or Renoa and Squall and the gang on the...
Ragnarok.
On the Ragnarok, like, such a good
That's still the coolest
moment.
Thing ever.
It was awesome. It was it was really fun. But like those things with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't want us when people hear us making comparisons to Remake or what have you. Like, I don't want you to hear that I think Remake sucks or anything like that. There are a lot of things that this game improved on. Like, literally everything. And I'm glad they did, too, because there is talk of them switching to Unreal Engine 5 for the final game. And
is this already on Unreal?
Yeah, I thought this was already an Unreal Engine.
I think this is Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is rumors that they're going to switch to 5.
Especially with the Pro now, and the fact that Sony locked down the third game as console exclusive. Like,
they locked this thing down since it's in conception. That's when they did it.
Yeah. It was made in what 2015. That deal.
Now wait a minute. I thought that
Yeah.
the first game was promised, second game was assumed, and then they finally inked it, and then the third game was up in the air.
I think since the inception of the remake in 2015, which
Yeah.
I'm almost certain actually happened in December of 2014, from looking at some stuff, I'm pretty sure I could make that case. It seems very much like it was Sony had all of them, like, and
This
then
was-
it will be wherever else. But this is
Yeah.
2014, so like, who knows how they feel about the deal now in
By the time-
2024.
Yeah, but by the time the whole trilogy comes out, things will be vastly different.
Well, and
Yeah.
one of the things that I really was experiencing this week, we were all kind of having a conversation with somebody. Well, Kofi, you weren't, but the rest of us were. And it was about the sales numbers, and I didn't realize that Final Fantasy 16 jumped from 3 million to 5.2 million as of June of this year, or February of this year.
That's
And I was like, that's
that's a
some
success.
that's some legs like a motherfucker. Like, let's like you
Yeah.
That's the legs
you
that
A
they
lot of
want
newcomers.
these games
well,
to have.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was gonna
That's
say.
right.
Like, these games have a lot of legs to them. Like, because eventually somebody's gonna go, man, you know what? This $40 on sale. I've been wanting to play this damn thing, and like,
Yep.
hopefully
Yeah.
they'll see stuff on, and people are like, yeah, no, it's a great game. It got a 92 or 91 or whatever the heck it got. Oh,
Might
really?
win game of the year.
Right, might. I don't know. The field is getting more and more crowded, and I don't like it. It's actually really good for gaming. So, okay. I think we all kind of talked on that one, so that kind of worked out well. Okay, so now let's dive in. We have about 30 minutes to an hour left. And so let's dive into some of the story beats,
Oh, yes.
because
Here we go.
this is why we
Yes.
come here. These are the conversations that we all look at our other non-gaming friends or non-Final Fantasy fans, and we look and we start talking, and their eyes glaze over, and they're like, "What in the hell are you talking about? What the fuck is a whisper? Who is a Sephiroth? What's a chocobo?" And you're like, it's everything. And so these are those things. So I'm going to reveal my greatest moment of the game. The moment in the game that both pissed me off and intrigued me, and I mentioned it earlier. So, you get done with this battle. Cloud's on the ground. He's hurt.
Oh,
And
I know where he's talking about.
You've been seeing these little flashbacks where you get to see Zack, which we'll talk about him during this time too. Anyways, that's a rebuttal for somebody else's comment, because I know somebody else is gonna like rant and rave over how awesome he was in the game. Anyways, there's this section where like you're constantly flashing back to Eleanor's house, and in the upper room you have Marlene, you got Zack, you have Aerith and Cloud both passed the hell out, gone, comas, both of them.
Yeah.
And through this, you see other people, but you're constantly still playing as Cloud. No, nothing's
Yep.
changed. There's no timeline information. There's no thing at the bottom that says 3 months earlier, 2 months prior, 8 months into the future, like sometime later. Like, they do some of that stuff later in the game, but that's only to explain like combat jumps, like, oh, you did this section with this group and now you got to go do this section with the other group at the same time, but we can't, because you can't do split screen with one dang person, so we have to fill in that gap somehow. And so it's like, oh, short time ago while this was happening, oh, this was happening, but there's none of that in this. And so you're left thinking, okay, is this all a dream? Is all of this just a dream, and this is the explosion, and because of the whispers, Zack is alive, and you're experiencing all this as Cloud? No, that can't be it. And I like talked myself out of that being it, and I was like, okay, that can't be it. And then Cloud's laying on the ground. his eyes open. And you see Aerith laying on the bed in front of you. Mind you, you're in a freaking like tunnel type structure. And Aerith is laying on the bed and you're in the freaking you're in the top bedroom of the house. And I immediately put the fucking controller down. I grab my phone, I message Josh and go, if they make all of this bullshit some alternate reality, some this is a dream, none of it happened.
I remember when you said that, too.
Dude, I told my wife the next morning. She goes, so how was your game last night? I was like, I'm freaking pissed. She goes, oh no, did it like stop working? Like what happened? She thought something actually broke. And I was like, honey, they're going to do the thing that I hate in media where they've built you up and built you up and built you up and then it's all just a dream. It's all in the person's head. So everything you've done for the past 100 hours, 94, but
meant nothing.
Meant absolutely nothing. They gave you a filler content game.
I want to talk about that.
I was so pissed. I was livid. And then the ending is kind of, sort of, ish that, but we'll get into that at the end of the stream.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's mine. That was my, like, holy shit moment in the game. It really floored me. They surprised me. They got me. I didn't have a moment where I was like, oh, the writers got me in Remake. There wasn't a moment where I was like, oh shit, really? That's what you're doing with that. And in this, not only did they get me, but it evoked every emotion I could possibly have. And so...
Remake was very kind of true to the first part of 7, and then Rebirth is just like, what's going on? Like, you know...
Yes.
Okay.
I feel...
So go ahead. No. I was going to say go ahead, Kofi. We'll do Kofi, we'll do Josh, and then we'll do Cosmic.
In terms of like the how the story events play out with Cloud dealing with his, being controlled by Sephiroth or not being controlled by Sephiroth and all the mix-ups, I felt like Square Enix wants you to feel that way playing Rebirth, just like we kind of did with the original game, but I feel like they did you don't know what's going on and it took it to like some super skyscraper type level. And the reason I say that is I just remember when Cloud fell into the live stream in the PS1 game and Tifa is caring for him and he's in a wheelchair and at first I remember I'm like, what's going on? Like I just remember there was a lot of like flashes and Cloud was really confused and I'm thinking, all right, this guy's going through a lot of stuff. And now with all the pretty graphics running on Unreal Engine 4, they were like, I felt like Square Enix sat down. They're like, how do we give that same type of experience that the PS1 gamers saw, but now with all the tech that we have? And it may have appeared a little bit too much because when Aerith is getting attacked by Sephiroth, it's switching between what Tifa sees or what Barrett sees and what Cloud sees, and Cloud is calm, and it's just a lot of things going back and forth. But to me, that was their idea of conveying that same level of mystery or like ethereal energy that the original game had.
So is he still in the coma? Is my question. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I don't think so at all. Yeah, no. I'm glad you brought that up. I do not think he's in a coma.
But then who got him out of it? Because it wasn't Tifa, like it was in the original. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up. My bad.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
We've got Has anyone gone back to Cosmo Canyon after you finish it?
No.
Yes.
Oh wait! You mean after you finish the main game, go back to Cosmo?
No, after you finish all the area in Cosmo Canyon, go back there and just have a walk around and talk to some people. Right? You can overhear conversations about what people think the live stream is and what's going on. There is one person who says they think the live stream is letting people live out possibilities or something to that effect. So I think that's what's happened is that Zach is not... like he's in the live stream because he's dead, but he's getting to live out what could have happened. So that's why I think it's like he's lived and like all this other shit's gone down. It's all possibilities, and it's like how they do their multiverse sort of bullshit.
Multi-world.
Because like you walk through the whispers, which are in the live stream when you go to the temple, like the Forgotten Capital. you walk, like everyone stops them or walks through the whispers. I think that's like Cloud going into the live stream, because we all know Sephiroth is actually in the live stream because he's entombed in the northern crater still, because Cloud hasn't given him the black materia yet.
No.
Wait.
So
Whoa. He did. Didn't he?
No, because that's a fake materia in
It's
the
fake,
original.
Yeah.
In the original, when he gives him that one, it's fake.
I know in the
one
original,
is like the temple. The temple like collapses in and becomes the black materia. That didn't happen.
Oh, okay. So that's the other thing, is where they stopped it. But go ahead.
Yeah, because when all the stuff that Kofi mentioned, how Cloud goes in the live stream and it's all nuts and all it's in a coma and in a wheelchair, that's all after Sephiroth gets awakened from the northern crater. That, the big explosion happens, and that's what happens. Is like because he gives Sephiroth the black materia. So we haven't done any of that, but I think the walking through the whispers is like symbolic of him going into the live stream in a way, and that's why like you see Aerith live and you see Aerith die, and then you see like the different perspectives from everyone, because it's like all possibilities of what's happening, and that's what the live stream is.
So
it's almost like the Force from Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
But that's what I'm saying. This is all based around like one rando in fucking Cosmo Canyon making a vague sort of statement
Very
that
vague
you have to
statement.
go.
But you know how these people write these games.
Exactly.
You know.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
But like, it's not like it's someone out in the open or in a normal conversation. It's just like a passing statement that
Doesn't
someone
matter.
makes when you're listening to people talk.
But
so
then
like,
you could look at
insane.
Zack. You could look at Zack at the end, where he's like, "Well, until the next time that I get to do this." Like, so what?
I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just giving you a possibility of what the fuck is
I
happening.
like that idea. That resonates with me.
Sorry, y'all are getting me all in my damn feels, because I am so pissed off at the way that game ended. It is unreal, and not pissed off in the sense I feel let down. I feel like the game did a great job of the end.
It just gives you like more questions.
It didn't
when you
answer
asked like one of my
thing.
favorite parts in the game, I lost my shit when Cloud stopped Sephiroth from killing Aerith, and then she still dies. Like, I lost my shit. And for years, like anytime I hear Aerith's theme, it is so sad. And I had that as my theme on the fucking PS4 for eons. Like, I can play it on the guitar and everything. Like, I know that song, and it is every time it's just moving as fuck. So anytime I play that, I lose my shit.
Josh, I gotta ask you this: I cried man tears when they played Aerith's theme while you're fighting Genova at the very beginning. I'm just like, I'm so fucking angry, but I'm so sad at the same time.
The other weird thing about that fight with Genova is she does a move. I can't remember what it's called. It's called Mourn something, and everyone gets hurt but Cloud.
Cloud doesn't have his limit.
Yeah, that's it. Everyone loses their limit or whatever it is. But it's this mourning move she does. So Cloud isn't mourning Aerith in that moment.
Is
what they're getting at with the combat. Because, he doesn't think she's dead. So everyone else gets hurt or like that something happens, and only Cloud doesn't, because he doesn't think it's real. Which I think is
super crazy.
Awesome
I didn't
taste.
even notice that. Yeah.
But is she
I can't
dead?
remember, but it's called mourning something. It's one of her moves she does near the end.
And Thrifty brings up the question, is she dead? Because she's lying there on the ground, she wakes up, she's smiling at Cloud. Cloud's the only one who can see her, and he's the only one that can interact with her. No one else sees him.
Cloud's also the only one who sees the stuff in the sky, which is, they say, is a foreboding thing of the end of the world. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah, but that was a different section of the... Like, that was different, because as they're walking through... See, and this is where everything got muddy for me. The last 20 to 30 minutes of the game got super muddy for me, because I couldn't keep up with where I was or what I was doing. So when they leave the house and they're going through the market and they're going through all these places,
they have that little date scene.
They have these little date scenes, and I'm like, okay, this is amazing. This is actually what's happening. This is really cool. They're about to go fight it. This is the real timeline. I'm getting happy again. I
don't think, that whole date scene, you see Stamp several times. That's always a different dog.
It's a different dog.
Every time. When we see I think it's a beagle in the normal timeline, then it's like I think it's a Cocker Spaniel or something in one of the other ones. And
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Then it's always different. So stamp is like the thing that shows that you're in a different time, or it's a different possibility.
Oh, I didn't
or
even
it's
catch
something
that.
else.
I stopped looking for stamp
Yeah,
after the first
stamp
like
is on
2
one-
hours of the
it's-
game.
Yeah, when you're on that deep sea
Yeah.
era, you're buying stuff. One of the things has stamp on it.
Yes,
And
now I
there's a
saw
couple
that.
of things throughout the market that do.
Yeah.
Oh.
I want to ask you guys this. Why is Aerith the only one showing this to Cloud?
Because
She
she's
does-
Cetra. I'm going to
Okay.
guarantee it, because she's closer to the
Browse.
planet than the others are.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why is
That's why
Cloud the only
kinda
one
got
seeing
Why?
it?
Why? Like, yeah,
Red
that's
gets
the
on
thing.
it a
like-
little bit too. He reacts to something she says or does at the end. I can't remember what it is, but like maybe it's because she touches him. I think it is, and he like reacts to that too, in a way. But it's not like maybe he feels something, but like it's because like he's obviously closer to the planet than the people are, and she's closer than
Cloud's-
he is.
Cloud is the only other person that could come close to somewhat understanding what she knows, and that's the thing because
Well, Cloud, Sephiroth,
They-
and Aerith.
yeah, and I feel as though that this is where we get into Omni Aerith, where
Yeah.
she transcends timelines and everything. This is how she probably knows about some stuff
Yeah.
that we don't.
Boo.
Or-
Because she's clearly hiding the white materia.
Oh yeah,
Like
she is.
Because in Costa del Sol, Aerith says it's clear,
Mhm.
her materia, where it's supposed to be white, obviously. But then it's
Yeah.
obviously Aerith throughout the live stream is hiding it. So whether
to
she's
keep it away
time
from
traveling, I
Sephiroth.
don't know. But obviously, like the live stream probably transcends time itself. So
And that's the thing that Sephiroth explains to Cloud when Cloud goes through the live stream is that there are multiple worlds, and these worlds are dying, and all these worlds are going to come into one, and everything's going to be, one world. And
yeah,
I feel as though that Sephiroth in the beginning tried so hard to get Cloud to join him in Remake, where he tells Cloud, "Run away, don't fight, or take my hand and we'll join me, we'll rule the galaxy together. we'll defy fate." And then in Rebirth, he acts like the normal shithead to Cloud as he does, which in reality is not even Sephiroth, it's Genova who's really doing it. But that ending sequence at the church really kind of hit.
Yes, it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Aerith's like, do you like me or do you like me? Like, what is our relationship here, Cloud? And Cloud's like, I don't actually know. And then she pushes him through a portal, and then that's the last time.
as Sephiroth's coming up behind her too, which is crazy.
Oh, that's so foreboding. I was like,
Yeah, that was.
No, I know exactly what's gonna happen. She's gonna die again, and we're not gonna see it.
Well, I think that's because maybe it's trying to imply that like what's fated will happen.
Yeah, that's
Like,
how
you
I felt.
can't.
Because
Yeah,
when like Biggs obviously wants to die for a cause. I think that's what they're trying to get at with him. Through the whole thing is that Biggs wants to die for a cause because he doesn't get to in Remake.
he gets shot.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he
that's what I'm saying.
survives.
He doesn't get to die for the cause in Remake, but in
Jesse got
Rebirth,
to die for the cause.
Yeah,
Wedge did.
Wedge
He
got to die for
Yeah.
the cause.
He got
Yeah.
flown off a building. And
Yeah.
wow, that
That
side
was
quest
crazy.
with those
that thing is
characters.
crazy. Yeah,
I was like,
Oh my-
oh, they didn't really watch them fall. Wow, okay.
yeah.
I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that was dark.
So yeah, Biggs wants to die for the cause, but doesn't end up doing that. So in pretty much everything he doesn't get to. So I think that's fated to happen. Like when Zack goes to save him, and then he gets shot to death by the soldiers, because that's what's meant to
Yeah.
happen. And it's like
Fate.
shot exactly the same.
Yeah.
You see it from his feet with all the soldiers in front of him,
Yeah.
like in Crisis Core. So I'm like, this has to be like a nod at this is fated, so it will happen. And then Sephiroth coming up on Aerith again when you get pushed in the thing in the church, because it's like she has to die by his
It
hand.
has to happen.
And
And-
even like Cloud saving her, and then she still died.
Well, and that's
Like, it
that's
has
the other
to
thing.
happen.
But Okay, so here's kind of my thought, and Kofi, you can jump in and talk over me, and I'll shut up and let you say something if you want to. But like that's what really like sets me off with this, because now, as I thought we were going to get a little bit of closure, now they've literally all they've done, and this is why it's frustrating to me, is all they've done is left it open completely to be able to do whatever they want to. This is the same thing I hate with the Marvel universe. Okay, so this is the same thing I hate now with Marvel. If they write something, yes, if they write something, if they do something that they don't necessarily like, they can just retcon it later and say, well, that was a different timeline. Or, well, that didn't really happen. That happened over here.
That's what's going to happen. I think.
Go ahead, Josh.
I think the next game is going to be, because we know what Sephiroth's goal is. He wants to get all these worlds together to rule over them as one.
Yeah, so he wants to combine them all
together.
He's basically, he wants to become a god because he has this complex.
Yeah, because he wants to be Genova and go around around the cosmos on this vessel planet thing. That's his goal. That's his goal in the original as well. But
Sephiroth and his space adventures.
Yes, but now he's got more timelines to do this. So his goal will be to bring all these worlds together, and I think that's why they're dying. So if you've seen Crisis on Infinite Earths from DC, I think that's what's going to happen, is they're going to start killing them off. Maybe even we'll play sections of these other Earths in the next game.
Well, we did in this one at the end.
Realities.
Well, yeah, and what Josh said leads into 2 questions, but I'll let him finish.
Yeah, but then because all that does is then in the end, when you beat him, obviously we will beat him because we're the main character, we're going to win. That's what the whole stories end up as, is that we'll beat him, and then it's like, cool, we've won, there's only one timeline now, and I'm going to guess maybe they'll retcon Advent Children. That's like the only thing I can think of.
Yes,
probably
yes.
Retcon
You don't think we're going to... Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt on that.
No,
that's right.
That leads into one of my questions.
But I do think the other big thing I do think will happen in the next game, because I think for certain it has to happen, is that we have to have Vincent and Yuffie deal with Deep Ground. I think that's without a doubt going to happen in the next game.
Oh, you're talking about the villain?
The villain from Dirge of Cerberus?
Yes, from Dirge of Cerberus, right?
I never played that. Is that any good?
It's fine.
Okay. It's not.
It's a good description.
It's fine. It's suitable.
Even whether they do it as DLC for this, that would be cool too. Like how they did Integrate, do like you play as Vincent and Yuffie, and because like Sonon died to Deep Ground in Integrate, so we have to deal with Deep Ground who are at Midgar at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and we are like by the story of 7, we will go back to Midgar before this is over.
Well,
so
sure.
whether they go off
definitely.
Which will be amazing with the new tech and everything that they experience.
I'm so excited.
Like imagine, it'd be so cool if you go back to Midgar, you get the Hardy Daytona, you could maybe drive around in it for an open area with the bike or something. That'd be pretty cool.
So what do we think? Reunited?
Well, here's the funny thing. Nomura wanted to use Reunion, but they used it for Crisis Core, so now they gotta use a different word.
Well, and because Josh's theory is about when we fight Sephiroth at the end, and you're fighting all these different forms, it almost felt like you were fighting these forms in different timelines.
I think we were, and I think he was transcending the timelines. Like he was across all of them.
He was,
Okay,
Sephiroth,
cool.
So Sephiroth,
he wants to make them one, so he has the ability to be in all of them at once.
So the reason I feel like he followed Aerith around was that he learned what Aerith could do, so he did the same thing. And is that transcend time, and this leads into
almost like a monkey see, monkey do type thing. Like I can do that.
I was going to say, because Sephiroth is technically a by like the original story, he is supposed to be like an artificial Cetra.
Right.
Like that's what he's supposed to be. So he may have similar powers to. If Aerith can do it, he can probably do it.
Well, because that's what Hojo was trying to create, right?
That's what he was trying to create. Yeah, that's where the clones. That's where all the clones came from.
So if Aerith can do it, then Sephiroth can probably do it too.
Which
sort of thing
also explains why Cloud being one of the most. Which, funny enough, if we're going Cloud as one of the next closest to the live stream because of the Mako and all that stuff, wouldn't that also make other soldiers like Roche?
Yeah, but we don't know the testing that they did on them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Cloud's
Okay.
clearly
See-
fine.
See, Cloud
being
had
tested on
something.
2 years.
Yeah, Cloud had something different happen to him because, like if you go through the whole Nibelheim flashback, Cloud's a normal 16-year-old boy who lifts
Yeah.
up a 5-foot-plus Buster Sword and stabs probably the most powerful being on that planet.
And they
Through
both
the
fall
glass.
into a Maker reactor.
Yeah, Cloud gets. Here's the thing.
Oh,
Cloud,
he doesn't fall in, but yeah.
Cloud gets stabbed, and then he flings Sephiroth
Yeah.
into the wall. And because that's the first explanation that shows you, okay, Cloud is different.
But was that
Cloud-
before or after the Mako infusion?
That's
no, that was
before.
before. That's when
Oh,
the whole
okay.
Nibelheim. That's the whole Nibelheim
He-
incident.
He gets the whole
See,
test on
timelines
him
always
after
fuck
the
with me.
Nibelheim.
And
Yeah,
anyways.
I think Chrysaor say it's about 2 years between the Nibelheim incident and Zack waking up and getting them out. I think that's what Chrysaor says. I'm pretty sure Chrysaor is it's 2 years. So they were
and
tested
then
on.
Well, because it was
Yeah.
5 years in Rebirth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Well,
I
they
can't
spent
remember exactly.
they spent a good number of time in the tube, and then they
Well-
spent maybe a year or so on the road.
That's also saying that because the 5 years from Rebirth is when Tifa saw Cloud last, when he went because she didn't know he was at the Nibelheim incident. As
She
the soldier.
thought he was basically dead.
No. She didn't even know Cloud was there.
Oh, she
Because
didn't know
Cloud was
there.
the
that's right, he was
regular
hiding.
soldier outfit.
He was,
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
hiding in.
Because he was
Yeah.
embarrassed, so he hid who he was the whole time.
Yes. Because
So
he was
her
just a
saying 5 years
regular
could be he went
fighter.
off and trained for 3 years and then came back to the Nibelheim incident.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
Corey-
Zack was the one who was
That's
there with Sephiroth, which is
Right.
why she, the way she. Okay, so sorry, Kofi, please, you haven't said anything about any topic because I keep taking it back over and Kofi, what do you got here?
So reel me back. Where are we focusing right now? Just like our thoughts on the timelines in general.
Thoughts on the
Yeah,
time?
like
Well,
what-
it came from that one
It
scene.
came from the best part, and I kind of rolled it in.
Right,
because
it came from the
insane.
best part, and then my best part had to do with timelines, and then Josh kind of took it. Cosmic then came in and said something, then I did some shit. We did a couple somersaults throughout all of that, and so now we're back to what was your like favorite moment in the game?
Lee. Okay, two. I just want to mention two that I loved. I already talked a little bit about was Tifa and Yuffie and Aerith coming to kind of save the boys when Scarlet brought her big nasty Gundam basically to the fight.
Hell yeah.
I thought that was so cool. Like giving
That was
them
very
like
cool.
that authority
The
to show
grapple-
up, and it was like
The
And,
grapple section.
Very Final Fantasy 10 of them, or 10-2 of them. It was great. Girl power all the way.
yes, it was very much
Did
like
everyone-
Kane is back. And,
Did everyone catch the 10-2 reference that Yuffie made in Nibelheim?
What? No.
We're like a
She
girl
made
band.
a 10-2 reference?
Yes,
Yeah,
she makes the 10. She
she's-
calls herself. She's like, we can form a group. And
Yeah, we can
then
form
she
a
says
band.
Whatever, and then it's YRP are the initials, which
Uh-huh.
is the 10-2
Are
reference.
you
Unipane
serious?
Riku, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
I can't remember
god.
what she calls herself, but yeah, she's like, "Oh, we'll form this group," and then yeah, she talks a little bit about like being a hero or something, and then she
Yes.
says something about we'll call it the YRP. I was like, "Hell yeah, you will!"
That's crazy.
Yes. And all the Final Fantasy nerds said, yes, please. So, Kofi, you said you had two. So that was one. What was your other one?
The first two I'll mention, one I kind of already talked about, was Vincent's first transformation. For some reason, I didn't think he was going to transform.
Same.
I thought that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
handled so well. I think the other one's a little more nuanced. I'm sure you guys agree to some level. Hojo is like almost as culpable as almost any other villain in Final Fantasy VII. And
yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of bring
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
presence to the forefront. Whether he was trying to capture, the team on the beach with his like robot octopus, and Yuffie stepped forward. I kind of like from a villain perspective, them giving us more perspective on why he was so horrible. Like capturing Red 13.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
dealing
make
with
Hojo.
Bradley. He was like
Yeah.
poking Bradley's brain, and he's such a terrible. I mean, like you love to hate him, and they did a really good job. Anything with him.
It'll make his demise all the more satisfying.
Guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. You're talking about Hojo and the demise and we have Aerith's death on screen right now. Go ahead, continue,
Oh.
Kofi. You get
Oh.
Aerith's death as your backdrop. Yeah, the holy materia just dropped into the live
Yeah,
stream.
R.I.P.
was-
We're sorry.
Fuck.
I think it was Josh. You also mentioned that you were like, oh, so he saved Aerith. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he didn't. I went through that literally.
I was so
I was like,
pissed.
Yeah.
wow. I was like, this timeline's gonna be crazy. Like Aerith lives in this part, and then
Yeah.
of course, as I
Yeah.
kind of play it through, I go, oh man, no, I just got.
Well, I had a question, but I'll let Kofi continue.
Yes, please.
And you know, the when Tifa I think runs up the stairs and she sees the blood, I go, oh crap, this dude hallucinating us into believing
Oh.
that she won't make it. And I guess like what my theory will be is, Red 13 and Cloud will often see Aerith in the sequel, whatever we end up getting the name for. She'll make random appearances. You might have this. Maybe a battle like you're talking about where these timelines are converging so that Sephiroth can wipe out any antagonist, in his opinion, anything that resists him. And like at the very end, when Aerith comes by Red 13, he looks up, he goes, Aerith?
Yep.
Like he kind of like
Yeah.
senses her. Because they've always had this connection.
They've had that connection.
I expect that like Red 13 might have some sort of like spiritual moment where he's able to fight with Aerith. For a story moment, but I don't think we're gonna get her back. I don't think it's gonna be like all nine are back together or anything like that.
No, I don't really believe that. But
on the 10-2 reference, Yuffie calls himself the Yuffie Recon Patrol or YRP.
Okay. But
and that's when she's talking about going to whatever her hometown is. I can't think of it right now.
Wutai.
Wutai, yeah. Oh, I can't wait to see Wutai.
Me either. It's gonna be the next one. It's supposed to be a big deal in the next one too.
Well,
apparently they're gonna really flesh it out. Like we still, because the map we have now, I'm like, this isn't even like the full map.
It's close though. It is close. It's close.
It's close. It's close. They're just missing that little bit more.
Yep. Just they're also missing the offshoot island. I hope they still put it in there where you can. It's where there's two islands that you go to. One is in the old game, it's how you got Knights of the Round. But the other one was where you went and there was like a sleeping dude that you like woke up. You had to give him something. You had to find specific items that the game doesn't tell you. And then you then you have to go give it to him, and you get somebody's weapon for it, I believe, like in the original. So I hope they do stuff like that. It's because there's only a couple areas though that are missing, and I think they kept them hidden pretty well. Like when you're
we haven't seen Rocket Town at all, right?
No, I think that'll be in the next one.
We have where we see Sid being very verbally abusive.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they're gonna.
I'm like, this is gonna be awkward.
This is gonna be awkward.
About the name, I think the next one's gonna be called Recreate.
Reimagine.
Please,
Reimagine.
Please don't.
Maybe.
Reimagine.
What about Reborn? What about Reborn?
We've already had Rebirth. I don't know if you could do Reborn.
Yeah, that's why I don't
think Revolution.
Revolution? It just sounds like we're
if we're bringing stuff together, then I think Recreate might be a good one.
That's why I said Reunite.
Yeah, Kofi just said Revolution. I was like, we're starting a revolutionary war against Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Hey, yes,
I would love that.
But
what's really funny is they bring up other groups of Avalanche. And other groups are starting to rise up, and other groups are starting to do stuff. And so Revolution, you could go more like, hey, you're doing all these things, you're helping out Avalanche, you're trying to save the I don't know. But Recreate, Reunion, Reunion would have been so perfect. It would have been so perfect.
It's gonna be it'll be R something. Because they're gonna stick with the whole FF7R.
Yeah.
What if they call it Final Fantasy VII Redo?
No.
Redo?
No.
Reboot.
No,
You ever
not
see,
reboot.
You ever see the TV?
Redo. Redux.
No, I just said reboot because it reminds me of a TV show, and it says, "Do you want to reboot the whole thing?" And the guy presses the button. It says yes.
No, I think just think about it. You're literally trying as the team, as the player. Let's be honest. You're trying to redo it. You're trying to figure out, okay, now that I know we're in different timelines, now that I know we have access to them. Somebody mentioned in the chat that Sephiroth has, or Cloud has Sephiroth's genes in him. So if Sephiroth can timeline jump, so can Cloud.
Yeah.
And so
Corey brought that up.
Yeah, Corey. There you go. So you
Corey
have this right
great
here.
Point, though.
And so with that, now you're trying to figure out, okay, one timeline is going to survive this shit. We need the timeline that lets, like Doctor Who, let's do the one where everybody lives.
Yeah.
Let's make this the one where everybody lives.
And this is the question that I wanted to bring up. So my theory was that Cloud stopped the saber from stabbing Aerith. He inadvertently started another timeline by doing that, but yet Aerith still died.
Correct.
Yes, they showed that with it flickering back and forth between the blood all over her to her just being in his arms with no blood. Go ahead.
And that's the thing. I think because this also brings up a good point. Tifa is completely silent around Cloud at the very end. She says nothing to him. And when he says that, don't worry, I can handle it, she kind of looks at Barrett and just says, I don't know. She's completely 100% silent. Barrett's going to be like, okay, I can still kind of trust you. Yeah. Cloud's the only one.
I was going to say, I think we're missing a big section of what happened there. Because they seem like they've jumped to after he's put her body in the water. And I think that's he hasn't mourned, so maybe that's why they're questioning him, because maybe they're
why are you not crying your eyes out?
Yeah, and I think that could be what they're getting at. It's because, as I said before, there's obviously they were talking behind his back for a long time about what's wrong with him, and I think this is another one of those things. We just haven't seen something.
They've been doing that since actually Remake. They've been talking behind Cloud's back, and it's not like they're doing it we're gonna be assholes. It's we're really worried, but we don't know how to broach the subject.
Exactly, yeah.
But Tifa's so pissed about it the whole fucking time.
I would just love to tell Tifa, if Cloud explained everything what happened to him, I'm pretty sure Tifa would understand, because Cloud went through a shit ton of things.
But
I think
they don't fucking
Tifa's
talk.
problem with Cloud.
No, that's the thing.
Go ahead. Sorry, Josh. I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Go.
I was going to say, it's the opening is that Cloud pretty much calls Tifa a liar.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's she was there. She knows she was there. So that's why I'm I think this animosity towards Cloud is because he practically called her a liar. And it's but she has the scars to prove she was there. She has the recovery in the hospital with these other people to prove she was there. He has nothing.
I do like how she started making that scar. It was almost an anchor for Cloud. Because there were a couple times where she was like, do you need to see the scar again? And I'm like, okay, that's his anchor. That's what's connecting him in this, hey, I have, like Joshua said, I have the physical proof that I was there. My dude, you're not who you think you are. I need you to. And what's crazy? Oh my god. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Y'all talk. I got to go get some more tea, or my throat's gonna not last through the exit. So y'all keep talking about this.
But that was one of my biggest questions. Was obviously Cloud obviously has his mixed memories. We all know what happened. Imagine being in a coma for 4 years, and then you wake up and then you find your best friend lying dead on the ground, and then he tells you, yeah, you're my living legacy.
There is that. Go ahead.
Cloud to me, what makes him such an intricate character is just oh well, because Cloud acted like this way because of that, or because that was like the openness of FF7, the original one, because you could interpretate it as much as you wanted to. But now with Remake and Rebirth, it's clear as day that Cloud suffers from, a Mako poisoning, jagged memories, and it's not until the sequence with Tifa where he builds his mind back together.
So real quick, is it actually so? This was always a question. Was it actually Mako poisoning, or is it Sephiroth mind controlling?
It's kind of both. It's kind of like it's
because I've always wondered that, because like Final Fantasy X had the whole I got too close to sin thing. It makes you kind of fuzzy, but later on in the game you realize that was just a bunch of bullshit. There was some other stuff going on there. So like,
while I'm thinking of it quickly, did you guys see that they actually did confirm that Final Fantasy 7 and 10 are the same world?
Yes,
absolutely.
I did see that.
Really?
That was a long time ago. Yeah. It was great.
Wow. Okay.
I know, like they hinted at it for a long time, and it was all like, no, like forever. They finally came down, like I think near Rebirth's release, and I'm like, yes, they're the same.
Yeah.
Like they definitively stated it.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
that's neat.
Yes, because so there's a character in Final Fantasy X that is Shinra. Yes, you run into him, and he talks about harnessing the energy of the planet to power.
So is
everything.
is this like years before or years after?
I think 10 is way before 7, right? I mean, timeline, right?
Yeah, it's in the timeline. Yes, it's probably years before.
So this is way before even Barret and.
Yes.
Yeah, because when they're talking about Neo Midgar in Remake, it looks a lot like Zanarkand.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah.
And like you see, there's a photo of like the first Shinra employees, and Shinra from 10-2 is in it.
Yep.
Like sort of thing. And like, even
because he's in
Al Bhed.
Yeah,
we're not going to say yes or no, but they did find near the thing of Rebirth coming out. They were like, yes, they're the same world. They definitively stated it.
Because the Shinra was an Al Bhed, and Al Bhed were the tech-savvy ones who wanted to use all the technology and figure out how to harness its power and all of that. It freaking tracks, and this is what I was telling somebody. This is why these conversations are so interesting. I think it was Wara, actually. Because these conversations are so good, because you go on so many different possibilities. And so many different things that these Final Fantasy stories always like wrap back in on themselves. And you see it all the time. 8, 7, 15, sort of. But like these games wrap back in on themselves, and it's what makes like, so what if they do a remake of 9? What if they do a remake of 8? What if they do a remake of 10?
Well,
like
9 and 1 are linked. We know that. So spoiler for 9.
Yeah.
Well, now Ivalice and 6. Hang on.
Story. It's Ivalice in 12, and it's also in Vagrant Story, and it's in Tactics.
Isn't 16?
Josh beat me to it. Yeah, that's correct.
But 16 also links in with something else, doesn't it?
Not 16, that I remember.
I don't think it does.
Okay, for some reason I thought the world of 16 was loosely linked to 12 in some way, shape, or form.
I can use 16. I can get us back on track.
I'm
pretty sure they're all multiverses because Gilgamesh goes throughout all the fucking worlds.
That's right.
Shit.
Yes.
He's trying to go back home. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm dead sure that they are all like multiverses of something, and it's Gilgamesh that can figure it all out.
Was he in 16? I don't.
That's what I was about to ask.
No.
I don't remember him being in 16, but he travels through different worlds. He's in 12, different planets.
I know. In 15, he was training Gladio because Gladio disappears from the party for a little while, and he goes off to train with Gilgamesh to become stronger, and then he comes back.
Yep. Gilgamesh's whole thing is he's looking for arms and his weapons and everything. So I'm like, he holds the whole Final Fantasy realm together.
Yeah, this goofy swordsman.
So, where were we?
We were talking about the timeline, and I had a question, but I'll let Thrifty continue.
No, I was gonna say. So we have a little bit of time left. I had a couple other questions,
Okay.
but I feel like the timeline is going. We're always going to go back to that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
a lot of it does seem to come back to the
A
timeline.
lot of it
Yeah,
has been. This
it
whole
does.
show has been going back to the timeline. Like right now on the screen, we have Tifa reaching down, touching the body of Aerith. Everybody's standing around. Cloud comes up, and like this whole scene right here, I am thinking like he's gonna have a bad moment, like he's gonna go berserk, like have some sort of guilt, have some sort of something about him,
And he
and
doesn't.
there's not a god dang thing, and I'm so pissed because as the character, as like the player, I'm sitting here going, god dang, really? I couldn't do it again. Like, and because as a kid when I played this, I literally was trying every playground bullshit tactic that everybody came up with. Oh, if you beat it at level whatever and all of your HP is 99999 all the way across, then at the very end of it there's going to be a little cutscene where Aerith comes back. Like there was all of this stuff, all of these fake little remedies. You could go here, you could do that, you could. And what was really kind of cool is 10 had some of those same type of like stories after 10 came, after like the ending of 10. It's like no, you can fix it if you did everything right. You could, and no, you couldn't. But we didn't know that back then.
They like Josh said, they tried in 10 too.
They tried, yes. But like, and even that whole thing of like getting 100% in 10-2 was the most anyways.
I was so pissed when I got 96.6.
Did you miss the track about the start?
It was because I like didn't talk to Lulu or something. It was so.
Oh yeah, you didn't talk to someone.
There's a Moogle at the start of 10-2 you have to talk to, and it's the Unimoogle. You've got to talk to her, and otherwise you miss 2% or whatever it is of the fucking.
Well, in Final Fantasy X, when you go to the first Blitzball tournament, where you're playing for the Bayside Oryx, there is another Moogle that you have to actually like. It gives you just a little bit of time to like run around, but you got to be careful because as soon as you go to one of the screens, it takes you directly into this cutscene, and you're never going back there for like half the game. And when you do go back there, the Moogle is gone. But you have to go to the dock and talk to it, and if you don't, you can't get all of the you can't 100% the game. Yeah, I think
it gives you. Yeah.
And I was. Dude, that's why I couldn't beat. That's why I didn't 100% the 10. But like, back to this, I don't think that they're gonna give us. And this is the final. This is kind of the what do we hope from the game series going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to loop us back into timeline, and if anybody has another thing they want to talk about after this, we can definitely extend it. That's totally fine. But I want to make sure that we kind of at least cover the things that I had listed out. So this is kind of the last thing, is where they take it from here. My hope, and mind you, this is an idealistic person talking here. Like, my favorite TV show as a kid was Boy Meets World. Like, that's just the life I live in. Like, everything, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm everything. If you're just nice enough to people, then usually good things are going to happen. Like, if you just do the things that you're supposed to do, generally speaking, you'll be just fine. So everything usually works out. Also, with my faith and what I believe that all things work together for the good of those who trust in Him. So, like, that's just my life. Everything's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also understand that the writers at Square Enix may not share my same belief and same hope. But what I want to happen is we literally do the redo, where we fix the shattered timelines, where we're going through, because here's the other thing that I was thinking. There are several places for us to go, but there aren't very many big places for us to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not, if you remember, and I know when you're talking remake, remaster, rebirth, when you're talking remake and rebirth, I know that they turned Midgar into a 50-hour section. I get that. But I don't see them doing that with the third game. I don't see Wutai, which is the biggest section I think of what we have left. I think it's the biggest section of what we have left. I don't think.
Well, we have the mountain. Oh, go ahead, Kofi.
Yeah, go ahead.
The mountain area is one of my favorites. I remember.
We have the mountain lodge. area.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing some snowboarding, which is.
I can't wait.
That's going to be fun.
Epic.
Totally random thing. Snowboard outside of video games, snowboarding is my favorite activity. I've been doing it for a long time. But anyway, what was I going to say about? Shoot, I just lost my train of thought. It was about. So I remember this. Correct me if I misremember, but during the creation of Remake, there was talks that the timeline of Advent Children will be part of the final game. So that's another final adventure that could be added. I don't know if it'll be like.
Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. Hang on. So we're gonna defeat Sephiroth. We're gonna defeat him at the crater, and then we're gonna have to deal with the 2-year bullshit afterwards.
No, we'll get there. I got a theory.
Where we go and we go wade in the water. We go wade in the water, and all of our ails are healed because of the live stream.
Yeah, I got a theory.
I hated that shit.
Me and Josh both have theories.
All right.
Yeah, the character interactions in that movie were left to be desired, but some of the set pieces for the action was incredible.
Oh, sure.
And I want to see something
AC
like that.
is amazing with its fights. Cinematography, the fight scenes, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted them to use that inspiration. I'm forgetting their names. I think it's Laz, right? Laz is the guy who fights with his fists.
Kadaj, Laz, and
I want those guys to all come back. And I felt like somebody mentioned that things that represent them are in Rebirth.
Yep.
Did you guys notice any references to them?
Yep,
they were in Remake.
Yeah, they're in Remake. They're the 3 phantoms at the end. If you scan them, it tells you about them, and it's them.
That's right.
Is it really?
Literally them. Yeah, it's
they have the same weapons and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
I think
but
them
the
coming
phantoms
back
you
would
fight.
be a really cool final arc. Have some cool set piece you're fighting on that moves around or something. Oh, I think that would be a really nice showdown.
How I think it's going to work, and this is just pie in the sky, crazy idea, is that we will be falling into the live stream up until you give Sephiroth the black materia. He comes out of the northern crater. We will fall into the live stream. Then rebuilding Cloud's memory is going to different times, different places, different worlds, and doing different things. Right?
But
so
y'all said that we've already been in the coma, though. We've already been in the rebuilding of his... Right?
No, but Cloud hasn't done that. Tifa went into the live stream and did that.
Tifa
and
did.
I think that how I said before, how the live stream is all things and will always be things. So it goes through time. So I think that's how we do Crisis Core. I mean, not Crisis Core. Advent Children is you go in and then it's dystopic future, and as the conjunction of the worlds would be that these things are being destroyed to make one final one, and that final one is the proper our timeline where we fight and beat Sephiroth, and there's one world. That's how I would do it.
Yeah. I want to build off of what Josh said too.
Yeah. Kofi, do you have anything to add to there?
I think that's a really good take. The fight for the reunification of all the timelines is incredible to see. Just quick shout out to playing as Zack and getting all of Zack's mechanics.
Oh yeah,
reunion was really cool. They gave you a tutorial prompt. I was like, oh, they're serious. We're gonna really have a.
Did you play as him in the combat arena yet?
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. No.
Yeah, you can
also play as Sephiroth.
Yeah, you can play as both of them.
Oh shoot.
Kofi's like, I'm going back.
Thrifty's like, I have an excuse now.
They're very hard to unlock. I'll give you that. I haven't unlocked them yet, but they're very hard to do. They're both brutal challenges.
I thought you platinumed it.
10 rounds, and it's Cloud and them.
And I thought you got the platinum.
But they're broken as fuck.
Harder than Alexander and Odin at the same time?
Yes.
Well, to unlock them, you have to beat that. You have
Yeah,
to do that
beat
all
them.
one after the other to unlock the two fights. You have to complete Rulers of the Outer World, which is you fight on hard both of the things you do up to Gilgamesh, including Gilgamesh. Then you fight Sephiroth in the combat arena, and that's how you unlock them to players. And it's ridiculous.
But at least then you'd have level 3 limit break. Because I've never even used level 3.
I've got you have to use the folios to get level 3 limit break, so you have to play on hard to get that. I have everyone's level 3 limit breaks. But the Godo Dameron is what you get from beating Rulers of the Outer World, which gives you limit break at the start of a fight.
Oh.
So you can open and use level 3 limit break.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And that's how you make hard trivial.
Oh.
Because Aerith's level 3 limit break is Protection of the World or whatever it's called, and everyone takes no damage.
Yeah.
And then her second one is you can give limit breaks to everyone else. So you give everyone a limit break, then you can put a limit siphon on Aerith, and then you can siphon your limits constantly forever.
Yes, I ended up doing that against Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
That's
how you make hard nothing. But because you could use a Godo Dameron on anyone, and they'll just open with a limit break.
Guys, I'm sorry. I just watched the end.
I noticed.
I'm sorry. I got real quiet there. I'm not okay. That's not. Yeah, we're gonna.
The ending is super cool. How Cloud puts the materia in his sword and it goes through it. And is it just me, or does his sword look black after that? His sword looks extra black after that.
It changes color. Yeah. It looks really cool. I didn't think that materia could do that.
I didn't think so either.
I didn't think they could do that. So that's something new. Sephiroth just takes the bus. He just takes the Buster Sword instead.
Thrifty mentioned about stuff we want to talk about. The gi being tremendously expanded in this was awesome, and you don't even talk to them.
The enemies of Cosmo Canyon. They're the ones that try to.
Dude,
and they made the black materia.
I'm sitting here the whole time, and I'm like, I don't remember these people. Who the fuck are they? Did they create a whole
see
new
them
thing?
in the original. They're just mentioned.
They were the ones that killed Nanaki's father, and then after that, they're the ones who want. They're the ones who want the black materia to
end the world, so that they can die properly, because they can't return to life stream because they're not from this planet. Which I think could mean they've come through the live stream or something.
Which is pretty cool, the way they tied them all in. Listen, we understand y'all are dealing with some shit, but we can't die.
The other thing we need to ask ourselves is because they talked about creating the black materia through emotion. So what does that mean? And then that could also come into why Sephiroth needs Cloud. Because Sephiroth clearly doesn't feel anything. Maybe he needs Cloud for this emotion.
But he's trying to say that that Cloud can't feel anything either.
Maybe.
Remember, in the thing he tells him, you don't actually feel anything. That's why you don't laugh.
The Gi openly talk about creating the black materia through emotion. So that you can create materia through emotion.
But doesn't that mean you can create the antithesis to that? You can create the solution
in theory,
too?
But that's why I'm not sure what they're trying to get at, but I'm just saying I think that's a point that may come back again, is the creating of materia through this emotion thing. Because up until then, it was created out of the Mako, leftover Mako and stuff.
So, Cosmic, where do you think we're going in the final one? What do you think? What's your hope, or what do you think? And Kofi, the question's coming to you next.
I will try to keep this short as possible. So it kind of builds off of what Josh was talking about, but I had a different spin on it. Cloud clearly is getting these visions and these dreams, because when you go to the spooky hotel inn and Cloud's sleeping,
then he plays Zack.
It switches to the different world. Now, my theory is that Cloud sees the Advent Children timeline, and we get a small subsection of him, with the fusion sword, and he's fighting off, Sephiroth in that, and he gets a vision of, well, wait a minute, Sephiroth is alive still, so that means I got to actually kill him and make sure he stays dead so that he doesn't return. I definitely think that we're definitely going to see more of the multiple timeline, kind of shenanigans. Josh brought up a good point of everything converging to one timeline. What my theory is that I think they are really trying to avoid the Advent Children timeline. They are.
I think they're going to blow it up. I liked what Josh said. I think they're just going to blow it up.
They're gonna. So, I don't know. This is based off of like a DC animated film I just recently watched, where it was a multiverse theory thing where all the worlds were getting eaten and destroyed all at once, and those heroes were left, and there's only one thing left. I think that's what's happening here, where it doesn't matter if it's Cloud goes to Kingdom Hearts, or it's Cloud in Advent Children, or whether it's OG Final Fantasy VII. Everything's going to get converged into one big, basically, ball of mush. It's going to be one big thing. And Sephiroth, I think, is trying, obviously, he's psychotic. He's going to try to take over it all and rule the whole thing with Jenova at his side and everything else. And I think another thing that gave me a hint when Aerith died was she doesn't blame Cloud. She's constantly reminding Cloud, it's not your fault. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay. It's almost like it's a mother trying to calm down, a crying child.
Or it's somebody who knows that she's died 45,000 different times over all the other timelines, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's the Doctor Strange, hey, this has to happen.
She's reminding Cloud this has to happen. And Cloud's line... Yeah, Cloud's line gets not censored, but it gets cut out when he's holding her, which is I think it was my eyes are burning and my what was it? My eyes were burning and my throat hurts or something. Because he's crying.
Yeah, he says that in the original, doesn't he?
Yeah, because it gets cut out. We don't know what he says, but I almost feel as though that Aerith is trying to reassure Cloud, hey, this has happened to me a whole bunch of times. I'm kind of used to it at this point. So there's no need for you to, get really upset. But Cloud still gets upset because Cloud, at the end of the day, does care for Aerith a lot. And whether or not where Zack ended up, I think Zack could have possibly ended up in our timeline. He could have ended up in maybe the AC timeline and he's going to meet Cloud there, or maybe he's in, Cloud's timeline and he's going to try to rush to go to Cloud and explain everything. And, it could be a whole shebang of whatever. But I do know this is that I agree with Josh 100% that they are going to put everything together. Screw AC Advent Children, screw any other kind of alternate timelines. It's going to be one world. And I kind of had this feeling since the very beginning of Remake, when they first, we first encountered the Whispers and everything, Aerith, and I agree with Thrifty, I still have questions. This game created more questions than it did answers.
Yes.
We still don't know what the white materia does. Okay, we will, in the OG we know what it does, but right now we don't know what's going on with that. We don't know how the hell Marlene knows about Aerith in another timeline, even though, it's crazy. Because when in Seventh Heaven's collapsing, Aerith hugs Marlene, and Marlene immediately calms down. It's almost as if Aerith reminded her or something, and Aerith's not telling anybody anything.
But Marlene knows.
Marlene knows. That's the funny thing.
Yes. That was
a 5-year-old knows, but yet the 20-something-year-old party members have no clue what the hell's going on.
I thought Marlene was a Cetra for the longest time.
Is she?
No, she's not. But she has something with Aerith where
she has this connection.
Yeah, so the whole time in Remake, I thought they were going to be setting Marlene up as another Cetra. Because of the... Yeah.
Because then that would lead into question, well, then who's her mother? Because we only see her dad.
Yeah, huh?
Because
Well, we see the mum in this.
we see Marlene's mom?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
In one of the
I remember
flashbacks,
now.
you see
I
her.
remember the flashbacks. Yeah. Well, maybe she wasn't the last bit of the Cetra. I mean,
Maybe. I like.
It just
If I
felt
were
like
to
because there
do
was like a
that-
kindred spirit type deal between them where
Yeah, if I would do
Yeah,
that, I would
it's-
say that like it's because kids are closer to the Earth or something like that, so that they're like more in tune
Yeah,
with the
it's-
Earth, which is what Aerith is.
yeah, it's
'Cause,
almost
like,
like the
Marlene and what's his name? Marlene and Denzel are the ones who get geostigma for Advent
Yeah,
Children.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
yes.
they're
that's-
inherently tied in closer to the Earth than anyone else. Because
okay.
it seems like only the kids get it.
they have a closer connection.
Yeah, so
okay,
that
the
could
live
also
stream-
tie into Advent Children for
Aerith,
that.
It's-
Aerith of the live stream will heal them. It's fine.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
Cloud,
it's-
Cloud will get some water and tip it over their face.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It'll all be okay.
Absolutely. I hated that shit. Like,
Yeah,
Seeing
Advent
Zack and
Children,
Aerith in the background was really cool.
fuck
that was
them.
nice.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I fucking hate the fact that they put Zack in this game so god dang much. I don't.
Really?
I don't
You're not
want.
a Zack fan.
I am not.
I
no,
love
so,
Zack.
So here's the thing. Zack had his story. His story got told. His story got remade. Fantastic. Not remade, but remastered, re-released, whatever you want to call it. Awesome.
Yep.
I played it. The first time I ever got to play it. I was so excited, so happy. It's great. It's fantastic. This is my boy's story. This is Cloud's story.
Mm-hmm.
I understand
No, I
that
get-
he's
I get it.
impersonating
I
you the whole
understand.
time, but like I feel like the only reason they added Zack into this series was because they had to do they wanted to do the whole timeline bull crap because then they could do more fan service that way.
They wanted Zack alive so some of the fans would be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a theory for that too. I
And
think
so-
they put Zack at the end of Remake just to do something weird, and then that blew up. And then like, fuck, what are we going to do?
We got to go with Zack now. We got to have him.
Yeah.
Well, that's why a lot of
But-
his sections isn't like full combat. It's like
No,
the
it's
other
like
stuff-
walking around. It's just walking around and
The stuff I know that is cut is there was a ton of Reno stuff that got cut because the voice actor in Japan, Japanese who did him died like right before it came out.
oh
So they
shit.
cut a ton of his stuff.
oh,
Oh, I didn't know.
that sucks. Oh,
So they'll
Wow.
probably recast and he'll be in it more in the next one. But yeah, that's why there's not a ton of Reno in the whole thing.
I actually loved the
That-
Turks in this.
Yes, the Turks are
Oh,
so.
the Turks are
Yeah.
amazing.
They're
man.
such anti-hero, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Except the blonde.
Elena.
She
Elena,
can die.
Elena's
yeah, Elena. I hate
Elena's
her.
And they had the
funny.
Kingdom Hearts reference with her. That was great.
I hate her.
Oh, the
Hater?
popsicle ice cream.
Yep,
Yeah,
she wants
she's-
ice cream, and then she has an ice cream that's the sea salt ice cream from Kingdom Hearts. That was awesome.
She's
Oh.
evil. Like the only
She's like that in the first one.
the
Yeah,
only
she's like
one
that
that I
in the
like
first fight too.
I like is I always get them confused. This is going to sound really terrible. I do not mean anything negative by it. Is Rude the white one or the black one?
Rude is the
Rude's-
red-haired.
Okay, so
Oh,
he's the
Reno.
he's
Reno-
the,
Reno is the red.
Reno's the red-haired.
Yeah, Reno's the redhead.
Rude is the ball.
okay.
Yeah.
So yes, sorry, I could have just done hair, but my bad. So Rude, I love his character.
There's a funny side quest with him.
Yeah.
His character is so like he cares, but he has a job to do, so he's gonna.
Well, you know that he doesn't hit Tifa, right?
He's got a big old
He's got a
crush on
thing
that
for
girl.
yeah, he's got a crush for Tifa.
So like,
That's
what do you mean doesn't
right.
hit her?
In the original,
That was-
if everyone
yeah, the
dies,
original-
Tifa he'll never hit Tifa.
Yeah, and it shows.
But
it
he
shows,
hits her in
right,
this
when they're
one.
When they fight, he like backs her up in this one.
Yeah, yeah. Remember
yeah,
when
like
he
the
fence.
saved her? Yeah, remember when he saved her
Yeah.
when they're fighting the frogs? And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
thanks," and he's like,
Yeah.
"No comment."
Yeah, it's because they're hinting at
Well,
Tifa
I
as a
knew
thing
that,
for her.
that they had that he had a
I
thing
think
for her.
even in this one, when you fight in the Mithril mines, because I've done it on hard, you can if you use Tifa, he won't really attack her.
That's
Yeah,
great.
he goes for Cloud and Aerith.
Yeah, he will attack occasionally, but you can see he doesn't really do anything
I
to her.
never even noticed that. That's crazy.
It's those little
I'm playing on hard, so I've done
Yeah.
a lot of the fights over and over again.
It's
Yeah.
those little differences that make the game really, really cool and really fun.
Well, because
Is
you
that-
can explore it so much and find something new. Like, so I have beaten the original 4 times. No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. I have played it 4 times. I've beaten it twice. And out of beating it those 2 times, one of them was on the PS4. I had all the fun little quality of life things done or turned on because I was like, you know what? I want to run through this again before
It's a fun way
remake
to
comes
play it.
out. And so I ran through it, and I was like, man, I don't remember any of this shit. Like, I was doing things that I couldn't like. I didn't remember any of it. Like how bad Sid was and how much of an asshole he
Yeah.
was.
Oh my god.
Like-
Man.
Oh,
I didn't-
I'm afraid of what they're gonna do in part 3.
Yeah. In the original, Elena falls off a cliff in the Mithril mine, like just for comedy. But you can actually get her to fall off in this as well if you like bait her into doing it. And she'll can take like 3 minutes to come back to the fight.
Wait,
So wait a minute. Maybe that happened with me.
Elena was in the
Yeah.
first. Was in the OG.
Yeah, she was.
I thought it was Rude and Reno were the only
Yeah,
two.
and then Elena comes a little later. Like it's when
yeah,
you get in the
Elena.
open world.
Shit.
Elena's in it.
The excuse
Holy
is that
hell.
Reno.
So,
Yeah, the excuse is that Reno gets hurt and then he goes on a little vacation and then she fills in for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, so you can bait her into like falling off the cliff in this one.
that's so cool.
And like it's clearly just for fun, and she does come back. It's not like the fight's over. Like when she does it, it's like she. I
Didn't
think it
she
takes
make
about
a
3 minutes for her
comment?
to get back?
But yeah, doesn't she make a comment about it?
Yeah, she makes the comment, but you can bait her into falling off.
I'm pretty sure that actually happened in my fight with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
That seems really. I
It's
can't remember
all these
exactly.
little things, and this is why I love Final Fantasy titles, because every time you play them, you are going to find something different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Like me, I am the worst with keeping a story straight. It's insane. That's an easy way to know if I'm lying, because it's either going to be a super honest mistake, like, you know, I've beaten the game twice, played it 4 times. I've made it past Wutai, past the ancient city. I've stopped the other 2 times that I stopped right before going to the northern crater. Just because I didn't want to have to deal with all that shit again. So like, I just stopped. I was like, cool. I've seen it all now. I'm fine. And so but like with this, we're talking about all this stuff, and y'all are pointing out all these things, and I'm like, oh wait, shit, that really? And I kid you not, I've played it, I've beat it, but like my brain is jumbled everything, and now like I have like a file cabinet with a Final Fantasy VII folder, and because of Advent Children, because of Dirge of Cerberus, because of the remake and Rebirth and 7 and Crisis Core that I got to add to that now, like everything just kind of gets into like this big ass melting pot. It's like, yeah. I don't know which one's where somewhere
agreed.
anymore. It's like
Final Fantasy VII is the only game series.
wow.
And I won't even say series. Is the only game title that I know that has had this many entries and that this much of a big remake ever happened to a video game. I've never seen anything like this to another game. Like you don't see it with Pokemon titles, you don't see it with Zelda, you don't see it with like other JRPGs. Like Final Fantasy VII, for what it is, gets a lot of attention and love, but that's just because of how many
Because of what
hearts
it is.
and what it is, what it did, and the hearts that it reached out to. Like if it weren't for this game, I would not be a JRPG lover.
Yeah.
I think that's for a lot of people.
Like
yes.
like I got into the Trails series because of this. I got into what was it? Go ahead, Kofi.
No, I was just gonna say hype that you got into Trails.
Oh, I love Trails. And then I got into
God
Star
bless.
Ocean. I got into Star Ocean. Second Story R is really good. The remake of that. I heard Star Ocean 8 wasn't that good, so
Wait, which one?
That's the one was the multi-platform.
What's going on, guys?
Integrity and
It's your boy
faithfulness.
Thrifty back with Thrifty PS Gamer
Oh,
Reviews.
Stars and 5?
I am here to
Stars-
give
was
you
it
my
5?
initial thoughts on
Integrity and faith.
my
I think you're
first
talking about integrity and
of
faithfulness.
3 full
It had a
price
very-
$70
That's like the most
very-
recent
video games
new
of
one.
the year.
A very
And
cloud
one is
it has to
Divine
be
Powers.
just a kind of
Oh, no, yeah,
first
that's-
impressions
the one before
and
that one.
thoughts
Integrity and
video
Oh, yeah.
because I have
I didn't
30
play
hours
that
in the
one,
game.
so I don't know what that's
And
about.
so
Divine
I'm not
Force
done with it
finished.
yet.
I
Also, when I
like
play
a lot of
RPGs,
things
I
about
end
it.
up kind of going
it,
full
it needed
tilt
a little
on
more
them,
help,
and
I think, in
so
like the big budget
I
space.
am,
but-
yes, about
I think I'll see
40%,
integrity and
30%
faithfulness.
done.
That
with
is the
the
budget.
only
With
thing wrong
the
with that
Corel
game
region,
is the lack of
and
financial support
I
that
can't
it
quite
was
go
for.
to the next
Yeah.
area until I get
I
all the
kinda
world
think
events.
that
But
too.
anyways,
like,
Because the thing that
let's
floats
get
around
into
the
the
game,
game.
cool to me.
because
Yeah,
the thing
I
that
wanted to
floats
do
around
this
with you
video, and I
really
wanted to get it
cool,
out pretty quickly.
Good level up system, not overly
because
complicated. I actually kind
Final
of liked
Fantasy
it.
VII
The
Remake
combat is really
was
fun.
not
The
a
only-
lot of
I
people's cup of tea.
played like 20, 13,
Yes, the game sold
15 to
well.
20 hours of it, I think.
Yes, it did well.
And like
That's not in
just
dispute.
couldn't
Yes,
keep
it's an awesome
going.
game. But there were
it's the
things
same
in it
thing
that
I
people
felt
didn't
with
like.
Renatus.
So much so
I
that a buddy of mine said
absolutely
the
haven't
thing
got
that
to
might
that
be
yet.
hurting
loved
Final
the
Fantasy
demo.
VII Rebirth
I'm
sales
playing it. I'm enjoying it.
is
and I'm like,
actually
okay.
Final Fantasy VII Remake's
I don't know if I
gameplay.
can do that.
So, and that
The
was Will
graphics
777
literally
JP that
hurt.
said that. He's the co-host
It-
on our
The graphics are
weekly
way
podcast.
down, yo.
It's
Yeah.
so, like,
jumpy.
when
it's
he said that, I
jittery,
just kind of
it's-
chuckled because it was funny.
There's frame
But
tearing. And
In a way, you
playing
could
on,
be right.
Switch, or are
I
you playing on,
absolutely love
no,
Remake.
I'm playing on the PS5.
But I'm also a Final
I
Fantasy
feel like they
nut
didn't
job
optimize that.
who
It's
very
not
started
good at all
on Final
when it
Fantasy
comes to
VII.
the
So
performance. That's not too
it's
surprising.
there's a
And
little bit of
so-
that nostalgia thing.
But I do
So what I wanted
really
to talk
like
about today
the
was, does the
reference
game improve
to
on
The World Ends
stuff
With You.
from
That was
Remake? Does
cool.
it get
It's
rid of a
actually-
lot
I've
of the
never-
things
Honestly,
and
I've never
complaints
played
that
those
people
games.
talked about in Remake?
Haven't spent
Maybe
enough
you've
time.
heard that
Seeing
Remake is
Shibuya
this or that, and you're
109
like, man,
instead
I
of
really want to play
104,
Rebirth.
I was like, that has
Let's
to
talk
be a
about some of the
direct.
changes. So,
And then I did a little quick Google
First,
search.
I
and
wanna
sure
talk
enough, it
about
was like a direct
the
shout out to that, and I was
change
like, that's
from a
that's
linear
cool.
focus to
I
a more
appreciate
open
that.
world focus.
That was
Speaking
awesome.
of that,
So that was
I
something
can't
that
wait
people
for-
did
to
not like
explore
from
Shibuya
Remake.
with Sora.
Remake was
Part 4.
super linear.
If we ever
and
get
it
to,
just was.
if we
Uh,
ever
yeah,
get to,
I
it,
was-
but
designed by
I'd
nature
like to
of
know where that
you being
game's
in
at.
Midgard. It's
okay,
just super linear.
it says killing me. Hang
Also, to
Jack
hide
Bell.
loading
Yeah,
screens,
my
they made
review
you walk
audio
through
is coming through
millions
how?
and millions of corridors, and it
Oh, that's how.
absolutely.
there you go. It's gone now. My BAD dog. Thank you. Good catch. He said you're killing me. My bad. My bad. So Wara is like community manager. Josh is the producer. Like I get yelled at all the time between those. No, I'm kidding. They don't really. They actually help out a crap ton. So, anyways, guys, we've talked about this game at length tonight and barely scratched the surface. Like
Oh, there's so much.
there's so many things I want to talk about. There's the moment when Barrett the different challenges at the end that each one, like, I'm going into this preparing for like the fights of my life mentally. Like we all have to choose a door and go through these challenges, and I'm like, holy shit. Okay.
Yeah, those.
Oh, these are going to be so hard. It's going to be, and then they're not. And I was like, okay, whew.
That's
Thank
the
you.
Eris one, isn't it? Where she's like a kid.
Yes.
Because
All
that was nuts.
All those trials did was just make me cry. I'm
They were
like,
just sad.
God damn it!
Yeah, Yuffie's hit me hard, man. I was like,
Oh, I
gosh,
know, right? Seeing Stone on
Yuffie's
die again.
was
Oh my
hard.
god.
Barrett's
That's why I'm
was
like, we have to
hard.
do a deep ground.
Barrett,
Yeah, Barrett's was hard too. That's true.
Barrett's was hard.
Seeing Barrett walk with like a severed arm patched, and then he's holding his dead wife. I'm like,
Mm,
oh my god.
yep.
How do we feel about the change to Dine's death?
Who?
I forgot about
Dying. Marlene's biological father.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
He dies by throwing himself off the cliff in the original, and he dies by getting shot by Shinra in this one.
I thought he got shot in the first one too.
No, he
No,
jumps off. He jumps off a cliff.
He commits Sudoku.
Yeah.
Sudoku, right?
Yeah.
I'm okay with the rebirth ending for him, as
Yeah.
opposed to the OG.
It's a more valiant ending. He
Yeah.
went out fighting.
Yeah.
I think they paid
He was-
respect to the character, so that was good.
It
Yeah, he-
helped with. Really, I was going to say, it helped with
Yeah.
storytelling of how Shinra has twisted people. Right?
Yeah.
He came. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is what happened. Like, your daughter's actually alive. Can you believe it?" but he's so far gone, it doesn't matter. And
He doesn't care.
right. So that was
Huh.
like that made me really feel like Shinra's impact shows so well everywhere you go.
Yeah.
They
The other
did
one I wanted
do
to
a
ask
great
about-
job of that in this one. Like, because I felt like in the original, when you go around, like, outside of Midgar, outside of Nibelheim, there's not just a ton of Shinra everywhere. Like,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, you have all these
Yeah.
open areas, these marshes, these caverns, these plains, all of it. You go to Wutai, it's more oriental, it's more kind of live off of nature, let the earth provide what the earth provides, blah blah blah. And then you get not Cosmo Canyon. Shoot. You get the Golden Saucer,
Rocket
and it's
Town.
like,
Golden
oh,
Saucer.
the Golden Saucer. Okay, this is a big place. Must be using all of the life force, all of the life stream, all of the Mako, whatever. And so, like, that's how the OG felt. This one, there's like a reactor in every city. Every single place has some little hints of Shinra everywhere, just crawling like little roaches that you can't get rid of. It's almost like this subtle oppression that the game gives throughout the entire experience. You're like, no matter
Even if
where
you're just
I
walking
go,
around, you always see the pipes of like the Mako or whatever being pumped
Yeah.
through the areas. You always see them everywhere.
and then you never knew when you were going to get some random ass cutscene with Rufus. And you're like, wait, why am I back here? Oh, okay, cool. And like then you're like, well shit, okay, I had to deal with a reactor. Now we got this dude, we got Wutai about to pop off. Like the whole game felt very it kind of gave the feeling of angst the entire time. Like
Yeah.
this is bad shit. It's terrible. It's awful. We're in the middle of it. I don't want to be here. Like we got to keep moving. And so it never let you like rest. Sure, you could go into your open world areas and spend 20, 30 hours in them doing all the stuff, but eventually you had to get moving. You
Yeah.
had to go to the next thing. So I thought that was really cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack the thing right there.
That's fine.
Uh,
I wanted
go
to
ahead.
ask you guys, how do you guys feel about the Glenn Lodbach?
I was about to ask the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
where he
confused.
basically just like stalks Rufus Shinra for like most of the game.
And it's Sephiroth.
It was a clone that Genova was
it's-
using.
Yeah, I think because he's the
Well,
main
sure,
character.
I was
from-
thrown off by that.
Yeah, he's
Because
the main character in the
Ever
mobile
Crisis
thing. No, it's not Ever Crisis. It's First Soldier.
First Soldier.
Yeah, the one that got shut down.
Doesn't-
He's the main guy in it.
Doesn't
So-
Rufus kill him, or is it like?
Well, we don't know exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Like he
Right, in
claps
part
and
3.
turns into Sephiroth, and then, but like clearly that is implying that Sephiroth is wanting the war for Wutai. Like he wants
He
him to go
wants-
to war for something.
So that no one goes after him.
Could be.
Mm,
That's
Like,
my
but then-
guess.
That also, like, you could feed that into my whole thing about materia being created through emotion. In the like, what does war create? War creates fear and hatred and anger and
Yeah.
sadness, all this stuff. So
yeah.
Really quick, I do want to say that I love Rufus's kind of internal struggle with trying to prove himself in the role of
oh,
taking
I know,
over
right?
what
Oh,
his
Yeah,
dad
that was
is.
cool.
It like strikes him at his core that I don't know that he feels like it's just his dad's company and he's living still in his dad's world.
There's some
He's in
times
his
where he
dad's
talks
shadow.
about that though. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
talks about
yeah.
like this is something my dad could never get done. Like he has that like
Yeah.
I've been constantly capable and at the same time told I'm not capable my entire life
yeah,
and I'm tired
exactly.
of it.
Yeah.
And Rufus actively like tries to be different than his dad, like because in the original, like in remake, his dad would have had just had, Avalanche killed, but Rufus actively just says, you know what, I'll let you guys go as long as you just leave me the hell alone.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Speaking
you
of which,
know-
how cool was the assassination attempt?
that was
I
awesome.
thought that was so cool.
Oh, that was so
Yeah,
cool.
That was a great way to bring in Yuffie.
That entire Junon parade area was just I was smiling from ear to ear. Just
Yeah.
the music, Cloud getting pumped up and pumping the soldiers up, acting as captain, rounding up the troops.
Yeah,
And
the
then I
shooting
saw-
of the gun.
Oh
Yeah.
I
yes.
was like, oh,
You know that-
shoot.
You know the little shop that had like all the little models of everything that
Yeah.
in the world that plastic models like Gundams, you can build them. They had stuff for like that in the game. I'm like, if they ever did this in real life, I would have no money. I would literally have those around my entire house, and I would not be sorry.
The
So
bald bar was pretty funny.
Oh my god, yes.
the thing that I really like, the reason why that section, what's really interesting is on the screen right now, that's the section where we're in. We're in Junon right now. This was a clip from my first impressions review of the demo, I believe. I think it was the demo.
This is in the demo?
I don't remember if it was the demo or
No.
not.
I think the explorable area was there. I don't think Upper Junon was.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to
I'm glad I
Junon
didn't
exactly.
see this.
Okay,
But you
okay.
could go like after you beat the thing, you could run around in like the.
That's what it
outskirts
was
of Junon.
then.
Yeah.
But like, it was such a blast, the mini game where you had to do the like the dance. The dance mini game in this was so fun. And like, I literally was just stopping and restarting it because I'm not the guy that I have to get 100% on these little challenges, but for some reason that challenge in and of itself made me want to get everything. Like, I wanted to do all of it, and I wanted to get the high scores, and I wanted to get everything perfect for no other reason than I thought like the dances were kind of cool, like the way the camera panned around, the way it was a QTE on steroids while tripping acid. Like, it was all of it together at once.
I think you get a trophy. You get a trophy for getting a perfect score as well.
You do get a trophy, and I got it.
Yeah.
And I've
I got it first try. I got it. I'm not trying to gloat, but like at first try.
I did not.
It's a bronze trophy, right?
I
Yeah.
don't
I
remember.
think-
I just remember
So
I got a
think
trophy.
There's 2 trophies, one for the perfect score, and then the one for getting the 7th Infantry to be the winner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
It's-
to get the
It's
7th
also for
infantry,
getting
though,
everyone in the in the inventory. Like you have to find all 10 people
Yes.
hiding.
Oh, you have
around
to
the
find.
town.
I had a bitch of a time trying to find
it
them
took
all.
me
I'm like,
so long.
where are they?
Even with a guide, like I even used Google, and I still had trouble finding one. I was like, I've been here 55 times. There's only so many
You still
rooms you
can't
can go
find
in.
them. Yep.
And then it's like, no, you just got to go right here. And I'm like, well, fuck off. I finally had to use a video tutorial of like how to get it. And it was like, yeah, you just go right here. And literally it was one that I missed right at the very beginning. And I was like, why? Why? I've been everywhere. I've searched every square inch except right at the beginning.
Has everyone seen all the dates?
Yes.
I kind of went back through YouTube and watched a lot of them. I got Tifa. I think the one I didn't pay much attention to, I should watch again, was the one with Vincent and Red 13 and Sid.
I got Red
Vincent,
13.
Sid, and
You got
Kate
Red
Sid.
13? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
I got Tifa.
You got Red 13. Interesting.
Because I've seen them all. Because I've got them all.
Red 13 was my Ferris wheel date. Aerith was the one in my Loveless play.
Yeah.
I got
Because then you
Tifa
get
for both.
Aerith.
I got
Yeah.
Tifa for both.
I got Tifa on my first one, but then I went. When you beat the game, you can pick who you're going to get and just replay the chapter.
But does it affect? So how did I get Red 13 and Aerith and not like Red 13, Red 13?
Because Aerith is the default.
Aerith's the default date.
Because she does the song.
Yeah, she's the one. And by
It's
It's always
technicality,
Aerith doing the song.
yeah.
Oh,
Aerith's making the song.
okay.
And if you want to get technical, she still is the quote unquote canon date because it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this small date before I go off and die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you have how the song works when you have the other people is like it's Cloud and Tifa standing backstage watching her do the song, or it's Cloud and Yuffie, like sort of thing. Like, but Aerith is the base because there's only 3 options.
Yeah.
For that part.
Okay. I got you then.
Like
And
the
that-
Yuffie, they're all different as well. Like Cloud
Yeah,
and Tifa end up holding hands, and then obviously Cloud just watches Aerith do it, and then Cloud and Yuffie, like, she fake sings the song herself, and it's really funny.
Cloud's like, shut up.
The Yuffie one on the Ferris wheel is interesting because she talks about Zack,
Zach, yes, because she had a crush
about
on
how
Zach.
how she had a crush on him.
Oh, I don't
And,
think
like-
I saw
And then she
She
kisses
does like
Cloud.
the fake. She kisses Cloud, but does like the fake punch thing that she does in Crisis Core to him, and Cloud like sells it and like falls back in the chair and all. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, you talking with Yuffie, right?
Yeah, on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, she talks
Yeah.
about Zack,
That
how
one
she
was
liked
funny.
him. Yeah, and like that's my favorite because it's hilarious. Because she's like just awkward and funny the whole way through.
She's like a little sister, almost. But
Yeah. And then she runs off at the end, and it's like, what happened?
yeah, it's like, what did I just watch?
And so here we go. We're coming up on 3 hours. I'm gonna have to close this out.
Okay.
Real quick. Let me go back to my questions. And I'm sorry. I'm trying to do 3 things at once real quick, and none of them are going right. So hang on. Let me get right back in here to my questions. And I'm so glad the stream cleared itself up. Good Lord. That was annoying. Okay. So, Falky said he is completely sorry. He is not going to be able to
forgiven.
make it. Obviously, yeah.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
no big deal.
God, could y'all imagine one more person on here? Holy shit. We
Oh,
would
we would be here until the sun rises.
either
Yeah.
that or the person who's the most soft-spoken would never talk, and that would suck.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, okay, so we did the summons, we did the ending, we did the where do you go from here. We've kind of done that all the way through. Okay, yeah, we can do this as an end. So, what is... And I'll pose both questions, and you can answer one or the other. So, what's your favorite side quest in the game? It's something that I've had the most trouble trying to figure out, because to me, none of them are memorable, or a lot of them aren't memorable. They are integral, or not integral, they are in very, very vital pieces of like progression, but they're not necessarily like the Bloody Baron or the one in Final Fantasy 16 where you got to go save the kid's toy because his toy got lost, and you find out that the toy is actually a freaking person that he plays
my God,
with
that
and makes
thing's
him do
nuts.
stuff, and then the dad's
Yeah.
like, well, don't worry, we'll
Oh.
just buy you another one, and then like that,
Yeah.
like that's a
Oh.
memorable side quest. This didn't have any of those to me, so that's why I'm giving people the option for both questions. So which side quest really stuck out the most, or what is your favorite feature in the game? By feature, I mean a mechanic. I mean something that they did differently with gameplay. What was something that really stuck out to you? Was it the chocobos? Was it the puzzle solving? Was it the forced stealth? Was it like what was it in the game that like is there something that stood out to you? So I will start. Josh hasn't answered a question first this whole night, so I'm gonna start with Josh. You can pick either or. What you got?
My favorite side quest is the Ultimate Party Animal side quest, which is the final side quest of the whole game. You have to do it last, because it is the last one. You have to have done every other side quest to get it. And it is that you go around and you have to beat the highest scores on every game in the Gold Saucer. The reason I love this so much is you get to play all the games and they're hard as fuck this time. So like you have to box, like do the virtual boxing thing, and it's virtually impossible. Then you have to do Queen's Blood, which you get to play Queen's Blood, and that's harder than the final thing in the Queen's Blood tournament. then you get to do like the spaceship and you do all the other stuff, the G-bike, which is crazy fun, and I played that one a ton. They're all really fun. The biggest, coolest part of this, in my opinion, is the race, because you get to race the guy who's like the ultimate party animal guy. He's one of the people you meet earlier in the story, and you race him, and they play the metal version of the Final Fantasy 13 2 Black Chocobo theme. Like they do a remix of it, which is my favorite Final Fantasy song. So I like lost my shit for that. Then you win a mecha chocobo. So it's like crazy fast. Yeah, you get a mecha chocobo at the end of this one.
Oh my god!
So it's like crazy fast, and like if you haven't beaten the other races, you'll destroy them. Like I was lapping people in the end of it because it's just that fast. It's ridiculous.
Crazy. It's like Mecha Godzilla. Holy crap!
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, so that is my favorite one because it's like a whole culmination of things, and it is like you have to beat every other side quest to unlock that side quest.
So, Kofi, what about you? Side quest
Dang.
or the other? And I can't remember what the hell the other one was now. Side quest or feature of the game, like
Or
a mechanic
feature.
of the game. Yeah.
Feature.
I gotta give a quick shout out to Gilgamesh. That counts as a side quest, right?
Yep.
If
It
it,
is a side
takes
quest.
if it
I
takes more
found-
than 20 minutes, it's a side quest. So
Okay.
you're
Okay. I'll say this. Obviously, Gilgamesh is really funny and goofy, and I love when he I didn't say this. I played 80% of my gameplay. My sons watched. I've got young sons, and they fell in love. They learned all the characters' names. They know the summons. They're like, Dad, why don't you use Alexander? And it's an incredible experience. But when they saw me lose to Gilgamesh, not Gilgamesh, well, it was more like Odin and Alexander all the time. They were like, this is devastating. They were like just watching me like die time after time after time. So to finally like climb the mountain and get over that and like earn Gilgamesh, and then him to be so goofy, like, oh, I'm going back to my own portal. That was a memorable moment for I think all three of us.
Awesome.
I definitely got to appreciate that. And then I want to briefly mention a mechanic. I'm trying to think of something that was like really cool. I mean, I guess all the things I like in general, it's the same system from the original game, but the materia system is just really great. I love pairing, materia with different things. Like, I don't know, one that allows you to cast a spell on your entire team. That was extremely, beneficial, I guess, for the way I was kind of playing the game. But I'm trying to think of something that was new. Oh, really quick, I want to throw something out there. A side quest I hated, absolutely hated, was anything to do with hitting those stupid little, not chocobos, stupid little cactar with the correct element, with Goofy and Air.
I know what he's
Those were fun.
Annoying.
That's
Oh,
what the
I
little
thought it was
goblin.
awful.
That's what the
I
little
got super
goblin.
good at
I had
that's
so much fun
Yes,
with
the
that.
goblin
G
guy.
or whatever he's called. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only gameplay minigame that I like detested.
Nah,
I
I
just
had
did not
such a
like it.
blast.
I got super into that.
Yes, me
Really?
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
awful.
But like that's how I got super good with Yuffie, is because of that.
Yeah, I could get that because you're switching elements.
Yes.
On the fly,
and that's also
really
how I got
fast.
super good with Aerith for doing that as well.
Mm.
That makes
Because
sense.
it's like you have to use pretty much your whole toolkit to do them.
Yeah, it's good practice if you want to get better with those two characters.
It was so fun, but I think Yuffie's combat was completely intuitive, and like, she's cracked. Like, that's the problem. She's
Oh, yeah.
cracked. Like, you can.
And I fear what they're going to do in part 3 with it.
They're gonna make her more cracked. Like the
gonna be
game
crazy.
does give you a power narrative. Like, let's be honest, you feel like a badass pretty much the entire game from start to finish. At least when you're not playing on hard. I know Josh is like going through it on hard and all that, but like you feel like a badass the whole time. But anyways, Cosmic, what is yours? Mechanic or side quest?
See, I'm the indifferent one here because I loved most of the game. I'm a giant nerd when it comes to Final Fantasy VII, but I think I'm gonna go because we haven't talked about this the whole time. I think Queen's Blood was my most surprised thing about the entire game.
Okay.
I absolutely loved Queen's Blood. I think Queen's Blood is a very cool, not only side quest but also mini game. It's fun to play. The fact that the devs said that they're gonna even add Queen's Blood in Part 3 and make it better just made me even more happy. I love the little side quest that was going on. Like there was this dark witch trying to come back to life, and then there was this light witch that was trying to defeat her. And then you played the spoiler for anyone who hasn't finished that side quest. You played the ghost of the original creator of the game in
Yes.
the haunted mansion, and I'm just sitting there like, I am playing against the ghost. I don't know
I got
how
very
the hell.
giddy when I got to play against Vincent. That was
Oh yes,
mind-blowing.
That
That
was
was cool.
fun.
That's a really good one to bring up. Queen's Blood. That was really fun.
Queen's Blood is probably
I
my
have.
favorite.
So what's funny is I play Magic the Gathering. Like, I play an actual card game, and I have a
I want
deck.
these cards so badly.
Man, it's great. I had a deck, and I still do. Obviously, it's on the game file, save file. But it was basically a deck that after I used it the whole time in Costa del Sol.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been before that it finally it was built and done. I have not edited, added to, taken away, messed with anything. I have to start with 3 specific cards, and if I do, I trap the computer every time. And so like I'm running through with all of these shitty low cards that aren't supposed to do anything, and I end up like almost. There's been a couple games where I've almost been able to run the whole board. And
The only one. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and it's really fun when like you go and you drop something and you kill 2 of their things. There was one fight. There was one where they had this card that they could play like 2 rows back, and it killed like 2 or 3 of your things 3 rows ahead.
I know what you're talking about.
That one took me a while to get around it.
The one I couldn't stand was the one where you had to play the cards backwards.
Yeah, on the
Yes.
other side of the board. I remember
On the
that
other
one.
side of the board, I'm like, I chose the wrong card deck for this, and
Yeah.
I then had to switch everything over. The only cards, I think I have all the cards. I don't think I'm missing any of them. I have all the character cards. I have all the
They're not
monster
hard to
cards.
get.
They're not hard to get.
No, you just buy the packs.
You just buy,
And yeah, you have to
just
win a
like in
couple of
real
fights,
life.
but
You
yeah.
just buy the packs
Yeah.
in real life. If Square makes this a real game, I'm so getting it.
They need
I
if
think
they make it a
they'll
real
build the
game, it needs
game.
to be a board game and not
Yeah.
a collectible trading card game. It
No, because they already have one.
sort
Yeah,
of.
I want to get into that game.
Don't. They sort of have one. Magic the Gathering is doing a Final Fantasy set
year?
next year, and so
Day one,
just,
baby.
I'll probably buy them, even though I don't play Magic the Gathering.
It doesn't matter.
I have
Just get 'em.
I have most of the cards. I have most of the cards, so it's fine.
Most of the cards for what?
Like the Final Fantasy trading card games. I have the ones for 7, 15. They
Oh,
had
yeah.
Final Fantasy 13. They had 10. They had Final Fantasy 3, but they didn't have 4, 5, and 6 unless I missed them.
No, and that's so this set that's coming out, it is Final Fantasy related. It's also Magic related, so I feel really qualified to actually talk about this. The set it's going to be a full-on like complete card set, 350 cards in the set,
Oh my god.
different variations. So 2 years ago or last year, Lord of the Rings got the same kind of treatment within
Yeah, I
Magic the
remember.
Gathering.
I do
And it's
remember.
going to be that same type. It's going to be a full set, collector
Okay.
boosters, commander decks, everything. And
Mhm.
a buddy of mine, him and I are going to go in halvesies and literally purchase the whole set. And
I think you just sold me on not buying it at all.
oh, why?
You said there's so much. Now I'm out. If it was like 10 cards or 20, I'd be like, yeah, cool. Now I'm like, nah, forget
It's
it.
like 300 plus cards.
Nah, bro.
Yep, forget
It's going to be 3. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And he goes, so what could ruin the set for you? I was like, honestly, not putting my characters in the proper colors. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. None of y'all play Magic, so y'all don't. This means absolutely nothing. And more than likely, most folks who are in the chat or going to be watching this afterwards don't play Magic either. So,
I'm more of a D&D guy.
which you know what? It's always it cracks me up when people say that because D&D and Magic are like peanut butter and jelly.
Jelly. It's literally like no difference.
And one, I am summoning things and casting spells in a turn order, and the other one, I am summoning things and casting spells in a turn order. It's the same shit. My decks tell a story. The DM tells a story. There's crossover. Anyways, never mind. I feel like everybody who plays D&D should
You're
play.
gonna get thrifty on a rant.
Yeah. All right, guys. I have not been very respectful of my guests and their time. We need to get out of here. It is 11:41 my time. I think Kofi is halfway passed out by now. So we need.
It is like
to...
midnight for me.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, yeah, you're
I'm
central.
northeast. I'm northeast.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, I'm northeast too.
I'm around where Jez is.
So it's almost 1 o'clock for y'all.
Yeah, it's almost 1 o'clock.
Oh, God, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thank y'all so much. It has been a blast. Shout out to the great David Faulkner. Sad he couldn't be here. He was doing good work, though. So, really missed his input, but super happy. Thank you all for showing up. We reached like 12 viewers, which is insane for something that literally you're just sitting here listening to four dudes geek out about a video game. Like, literally, and we could have talked about so much more.
Dude, if I wasn't tired, I could go another 3 hours.
Like, we could have talked about when you're seeing the different flashes, or we could have talked about when how it's Aerith and Cloud on the water tower, and how I was super pissed off about that because it's supposed to be fucking Tifa and Cloud, and it was Aerith. Like, there's so many different moments that we could discuss, and that's the beauty of this game. If you take nothing else, take this as the game is super rich. It's dense. It's thick. Honestly, for being a spoiler cast, you could still go play the game and be absolutely, totally freaking surprised 80% of the time. We didn't cover a ton.
We didn't even talk about Roche.
We didn't.
We talked about like 10% of the game.
What happened to Roche is so sad. Like, oh my god.
He wanted to beat Cloud so badly that he allowed Hojo to do his freaky shit to him.
He was so cool in Remake too.
Oh, I hated him in Remake.
Overall, he was such a cool
he's a cool addition.
Yeah, like when he shows up, I'm like, what is this? Because I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be 1-to-1 with the OG, and then when Roche says, I'm like, what? Who is he? And he's like, on this bike doing all this craziness.
Yeah. Stirring the hornet's nest, I see.
That's why I didn't like it. I felt like he was too over the top in the first one. I liked him in this one, but that's because I'd already seen him. And so, like, I was expecting, okay, so when I see him, it's going to be this over-the-top, overacting type of thing. It's going to be this heavy theatrical. And so I was more okay.
Take it to the red line?
No.
You didn't take it to the red line?
I didn't, no.
Nah.
All right.
Real quick, that boss fight where they have like the actual jazz like fight. Oh, it's so good. The jazz music's so good.
Wait, inside Junon or?
Yeah, inside Junon, where he faces inside the dome.
Yeah.
The actual jazz
that
music.
Is really cool.
Yeah.
That accessory is also killer. The
little buddy, the little speed demon buddy. Oh yeah, it's very helpful.
Keychain is very powerful.
It's always cool.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Thrifty's getting tired.
Yeah, I'm over here freaking yawning right now. Once again,
it's 3
guys.
in the afternoon here. I've got plenty of time.
I know you do, Josh. It means the world to me that y'all came out.
Time.
It's absolutely phenomenal to be able to do this and just talk video games. And honestly, it's something that a lot of us don't get to do long form style like this much anymore. And so it's been amazing. These still my favorite episodes to do, my favorite podcast to do. are just discussing these video games. And so we got some big changes coming to the channel soon. Super excited to get ready to announce those. We are doing some format shifts, and so it's going to be really fun. And I'm excited. Guys, once again, thank y'all for stopping by. Go check all these people out. You can find every single one of them on X, except for Josh. He's on there, but
Nope.
he's yeah.
Josh doesn't care.
Yeah, he just
Nope.
absolutely cares not. Cosmic goes from wanting to like shut it down completely to getting on and then shutting it down completely. So like there's just, and then Kofi, you can follow him on there at creative_Kofi to figure out what games are coming over from Japan that we haven't gotten yet. Check all these
real
guys
news.
out. The real news, that's right.
The real news.
Check those guys out. They're wonderful people. Thank you all for being here. And as always, the game, you can find it locally for like $25 to $30 right now at, I don't know if you have game exchanges in your part of the world, but mine here has it for $29.99. So they said it was like their manager owner pick or some shit. So go check that out because right now, Reunion is $29.99. So like